NBC, there is big off-the-field controversy in Pittsburgh. Another foul ball from Tony Pena. Count stands at a ball to 2 strikes. And that controversy centers around a grand jury investigation into alleged drug use in Major League Baseball. Of course, that investigation is centered in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, and it has certainly had its effect on this ball club. And Mike talked to Chuck Tanner about that, and we'll hear what Chuck had to say about that investigation. Ground ball, one hopper to Duncan. On the sack to Brock, and the Dodgers turn 2. 6-4-3 Dodgers out of the inning. We go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Dodgers. To the bottom of the second inning we go. This is the way the Los Angeles Dodgers will try and attack Jose De Leon. Steve Sachs leading off and playing shortstop. He's, playing second base. At shortstop is Mariano Duncan. Batting third is Mike Marshall. Hitting in the cleanup spot, third baseman Pedro Guerrero. Catching today is Mike Scioscia. Greg Brock will play first base and bat sixth. Terry Whitfield is in left field. In center field, R.J. Reynolds will bat eighth. And Oral Hershiser will bat ninth, looking for win number 4.
Here's a good look at Jose De Leon. He is a power pitcher, this guy. He comes right after you with the fastball. He has what he calls a slider, but it's almost like a slurve, except that he throws it very hard. It breaks bigger than a slider. And he has a forkball. Sometimes he gets a little too sweet on the forkball. Here's what the defense behind him will appear on the Dodger grass, with Kemp in left, Wynn in center, Frobel the right fielder, Madlock, Allman, Ray, Thompson on the infield, De Leon and Pena the battery, and Pena is one of the best catchers in the business. In the first inning, Sachs walked, Duncan singled him to third, then he stole second base. Marshall had a sacrifice fly. Guerrero and Scioscia flied out, and the Dodgers led 1-0, and that's where we are now.
Here's Greg Brock, bothered by injuries. All the way since the end of spring training, both elbows sprained. Has not seen much action at all. In fact, last night, he drove in the only run the Dodgers would need. And for Greg Brock, Mike, it was his first RBI of the year. That's incredible.
This guy's a stick of dynamite waiting to go off, in my estimation. He is too good a ball player. He has too great a minor league statistical record not to break loose sooner or later. He's struggling personally, like this Pirates club is struggling as a whole. But one of these days, that kid's going to bust loose.
Well, Jason Thompson retires Greg on a high pop fly.
Terry Whitfield.
Bill, we've had 350 Major League games played and completed to this Saturday afternoon.
Without a rainout.
Correct.
And, of course, Vin and Joe are standing by in Kansas City, hoping to bring some of you the Royals-Yankees tilt. But it is raining and raining hard in Kansas City.
Those two guys would do anything to get a day off, wouldn't they? Unbelievable. I can see Joe up there right now.
That's right.
Back in the lunchroom.
He's got the garden hose. For today's game, behind home plate, Joe West. Eric Gregg is at first. Doug Harvey is at second base, and Frank Foley is down at third.
This fella, Terry Whitfield, as you watch him swinging here now, he's swinging a hot bat just fouled on the right side. He went to Japan, played over there for a while. He's come back, and he's been a great addition to Tommy Lasorda's Dodgers. He's off to a heck of a start. He comes in batting .433 with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He hit a pinch home run here the other night in the 9th inning to help the Dodgers come back and tie a ball game that the Cardinals did win in 10 innings. But this fella has really improved, and he's like a breath of fresh air in this Dodger uniform.
Count is a ball and 2 strikes now to Whitfield. Whitfield hitting .286 on the year. Has not seen a great deal of action for the Dodgers, and he goes down swinging. For De Leon, that is strikeout number 1.
And that's the good fastball we talked about from that man, De Leon.
Now for Jose, that is his 52nd strikeout of the year, Michael, and he trails now Dwight Gooden by only 4.
How about Mr. Gooden last night?
Oh, my goodness. 13 Ks.
And what, he had a no-hitter, 6 2/3 before Tim Cochran of the Phillies got a base hit into right field.
R.J., and he looks at a strike. R.J. Reynolds hitting .222.
Bill, you say that the Pirates are struggling out here. They're not able to score any runs. It's not unusual that these eastern clubs come west and they're unable to score. One thing, all three fields here on the West Coast, San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, are natural fields. Where back in the East, most of those fields are artificial. And it takes these players a little time to acclimate themselves to the natural surfaces. It's really paid off for the West Coast trip. This Pirate Club has lost 15 of their last 17 games here in California.
In fact, Mike, to carry that just a bit further, you've got to go all the way back to April of 1984 to find the last time the Pirates swept the West Coast team out here, and it was the Dodgers here back in the season opening series of 1984. So they don't do well when they come out to the West Coast. Count is a ball and 2 strikes. Just missed. 2-2 now from De Leon to Reynolds.
De Leon is staying with the fastball. The last time he pitched very well for 5 innings. Then he went out in the 6th inning, and he started throwing that forkball of his, and they bombed him. Chuck Tanner called him in his office after that. He said, listen, I want you to rely on your fastball and your breaking ball, and there it is.
And there is the breaking ball you spoke of. It was a beauty. Strikeout number 2. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Now the New York Mets continue to roll. It is win number 18 on the year as they down the Phils again today 4-0. Some of you saw that game in the first half of our NBC doubleheader. Sid Fernandez, the former Dodger, with the victory today. And another shutout on the board. The Expos over the Atlanta Braves 3-0. And Atlanta drops its 16 of the year. Now we remind you that Mike and I will be selecting the NBC Light Beer for Miller Player of the Game at the conclusion of our ball game. We certainly invite you to sit back and perhaps pick your own. See if your pick agrees with Michael's.
Yeah, we'll second guess each other.
Who you picking?
Well, let's see. Right now, I'm going to pick Joe West, the umpire.
Frobel ground ball. Duncan has it on a couple of hops on the block. And Frobel is a casualty to open the 3rd.
This youngster at shortstop is getting an opportunity to play because Anderson, their number 1 man, is on the disabled list. And he's played a fine shortstop thus far. He's the 3rd youngest player in the National League. 22 years old. The other 2 are Dwight Gooden and the shortstop for the Chicago Cubs.
You want to talk surprises in 1985 if you're a Pittsburgh Pirate fan? The surprises don't come much bigger than the man at the plate right now, the well-traveled Billy Ullman.
There's the shortstop, Mr. Duncan, Mariano Duncan, and the umpire behind him, one of the senior members in the National League, Doug Harvey.
Ullman with the count of no balls and a strike from Hershiser. Wanted to go, held. The appeal to first base, Eric Gregg says, a ball and a strike.
That's one great thing about Major League Baseball, Phil. What you mentioned about Bill Ullman. They have struggled, looked for a shortstop. They weren't satisfied with Berra. They made the trade. They've tried this, they've tried that. And then out of the sky drops Mr. Ullman. He has hit safely in 7 of his last 10 at a .324 clip. You never know about this world of baseball.
I'll tell you, Thursday in San Diego against the Padres, Ullman hit a shot that was out of the ballpark. Craig McReynolds reached over the wall in San Diego and pulled it back in. I asked Billy, what in the world are you doing hitting the ball that far, Ullman? He says, that's not the question, Phil. The word is, what in the world is Craig McReynolds doing reaching up and bringing it back in the park? Kevin McReynolds. Ullman, of course, came up in the San Diego Padre organization. 1-2. Did he go? Indeed he did. And Joe West waves him out. That is the second strikeout for Hershiser.
Let's take another look at it. You'll see where you're supposed to throw a breaking ball. Low on the outside corner. That was a beauty. He throws it there all day, and he'll have himself his 4th win of the season.
Here's Jose De Leon. Has a hit in 6 trips and takes a look at the fastball on the outside part of the plate. A strike. Tommy Lasorda in our open today referred to Jose De Leon as Ponce De Leon. Did you get a copy of Tommy's book?
I sure did. He was very kind to me. He autographed it. He wishes he knew where Ponce de Leon was in his fountain of youth, I'll tell you that.
No question about that.
Here's a situation we have as you get a look at Tommy over there. I think what pitchers do when they're on the mound and the opposing pitcher comes up, they say, now, I can't walk this guy. And I think that's reverse psychology. I think what they should say is, I'm going to throw this guy strikes. And so their concentration is on strikes rather than walking him.
Now, whatever Hershiser was thinking, it worked to perfection. De Leon and the Pirates gone in the 3rd. Now, Vin and Joe will be in Atlanta to watch the hottest hitter in baseball, Dale Murphy. Bob and Tony will be right down the road here in Anaheim, where the Yankees and the Angels will square off. That's all next Saturday right here on NBC Sports. Bottom of the 3rd we go. Hershiser to lead things off against De Leon, and he puts it on the backstop. Hershiser has been to the plate 14 times this year, has a couple of singles. Mike, you've been around this game virtually all your life. What is it about the Dodger organization that just seems to churn out year after year after year effective pitching?
It starts with their scouts. I know if I was a general manager, what I would do is I'd try to hire all the Dodger scouts, and then I'd try to hire all the San Francisco scouts, because I'd get the good pitching and the good hitting.
Hershiser gone 6-3.
Second baseman, Steve Dye.
Now there's Mike Brito in the white hat right behind the home plate umpire, Joe West, and that's the man that sniffed out Valenzuela.
He got him out of the Mexican League.
Yeah.
And here's a fella, Fernando, that started playing down there when he was about 15 and 16 years old. And the great experience that he got there is because in the Mexican League, they have older players, and they have a lot of ex-big league players. And that kid learned how to play the game the old-fashioned way.
Here's Steve Sachs. He walked to open the ball game. Well, we understand, Mike, that they are taking the tarp off the field in Kansas City. The Royals and the Yankees are just about set to begin. And I want to let you folks know in New York and Kansas City, Ben and Joe are standing by to bring you that game just as soon as they get things underway in KC.
And that won't take long because they have the artificial surface there in the Truman complex. That is a very fine facility.
Oh. 2 balls and a strike to Sachs. I'll tell you, George Toma and that ground crew in Kansas City, not only do they have perhaps the best complex in all of sport, but they also have one of the best ground crews in all of sport.
I played in the old Kansas City ballpark.
Oh, did you?
And you talk about a great field. The clay there, when you would step on it with your spikes, Phil, you'd come back about 2 minutes later, and it would fill up.
Now Sachs walks with 1 out, his second free pass of the ball game. Sachs scored the only run in this ball game. We're in the bottom of the 3rd. 1 out. It's 1-0 Los Angeles. Here comes Mariano Duncan. He's singled his first trip. Those of you who are expecting to see the New York-Kansas City game, we are set to go now to Kansas City with Vin and Joe. pitch out, nothing going. Now Duncan, his first trip, single. On a hit and run, it moves Sachs around to third. No strikes.
Sachs, coming off the disabled list, had an injury to his leg. His running has been slowed somewhat, but he's starting to get it back now, and he's starting to get the stealing urge and bug again. Here's the young shortstop. He's a switch hitter, and he just started hitting left-handed last year.
Ahead of the throw. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Many times when a fella starts to switch hit, he's not as strong from his unnatural side. And a lot of pitchers will just simply throw the fastball in on these kind of batters and challenge them. Let's see how Mr. De Leon and Pena attack this situation.
I'll tell you, when Duncan finds the alleys, he flies. Led the Texas League a year ago with 11 triples. There goes Sachs. Going to second base. In time, says Doug Harvey.
The best throwing catcher in all of baseball just gave you a demonstration. Watch this. Throw is right on the money, and all Mr. Ray has to do is hold for the slide right into the tag.
Now you talk about best throwing catcher in all of baseball. You're absolutely right, Mike. You led the National League catchers in putouts, assists, total chances, and double plays a year ago.
He's the greatest.
That says it all. Fly ball, right center field. Froebel to his right, waving Marvell Wynn off, and Froebel retires Duncan and the Dodgers. We've completed 3 at Dodger Stadium. It's Los Angeles 1, the Pirates nothing. 80 drivers will compete in that road rally that will take them over 8,500 miles in just 7 days through all parts of America. That's tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern. 2 here in Los Angeles. If it's special, it's on NBC Sports. The Cannonball, 1 lap of America. We move to the top of the 4th inning. And it is Marvell Wynn who hit a bouncing ball to Mariano Duncan to open the ball game. Hershiser has faced the minimum, although he has allowed a base hit to Steve Kemp with 1 out in the 2nd inning. Kemp ultimately retired on a double play ball off the bat of Tony Pena. And there is a shot at Steve Sachs. Boy, Marvell Wynn just shaking his head and walking towards the first base dugout. Those of you who were watching the first half of our NBC doubleheader, Chicago over the Tigers 7-4. Toronto down the Mariners 4-2. Boy, Seattle off to that blistering start. Had some problems recently. And boy, look at Oakland laying it on Boston. Johnny Ray, chopper to Brock. On to Hershiser, 3-1. And there are 2 quick outs here in the 4th inning for the Pirates. Mike, what does it do to your ball club when you come to the ballpark every day and you just sort of know that the lumber has gone to sleep?
When you start thinking about it, it's somewhat like we discussed before when the pitcher says, I don't want to walk this man, rather than I'm going to throw him strikes. Every time they turn around, there's a writer, someone from the media saying, you guys aren't hitting. You're not hitting. You're not swinging the bat. It's that negativity. It gets to them. Now you start to press. Now you start to try to do things that you're incapable of doing. And it just gets worse. What you have to do is come out and say, okay, boys, we're going to swing that pole today. We're going to flap out some base hits on you.
Now here's a guy who can flat out pound the base hits. And he's got one. Billy Madlock, a line shot that Duncan could not flag.
He's slowly but surely coming back from the rotator cuff injury. Madlock suffered last year. 4-time National League batting champion. and he is slowly but surely getting back to his old form. And he's the leader of this team when it comes not only as their captain, but as their offensive leader. He has to pull the wagon. He's the guy that has the responsibility. When he gets better and healthier and starts to hit like he can, then the rest of this Pirate club will follow.
And here's a guy who can also pound a baseball, Jason Thompson. He leads the club in home runs and RBIs, has 4 dingers, 18 ribbies. Boy, go back to June of last year. I remember a doubleheader that Thompson against the Cubs, Mike, hit 4 home runs in that doubleheader a year ago.
And when this guy gets hot, and that's what he is, a streak hitter, he goes on a streak, and you have to pitch around him then. If he's cold, you better enjoy it.
Now, the only other Pirate that ever accomplished that feat, you've got to go way back to the 40s. Ralph Kiner did it, hit 4 of them out in a doubleheader.
Kiner's corner.
Yeah.
Joe Garagiola used to sit out there in Kiner's corner when he was just a youngster.
Was Joe ever a youngster? I'm glad that game's underway in Kansas City, so he can't hear us. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WOC-TV in Davenport, the sports leader in the Quad Cities.
We're in the top of the 4th inning. It is 1-0 Dodgers. Lone run coming in the 1st inning on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Mike Marshall. It scored Steve Sachs.
This is a very good day for the ball player because it's overcast. Here, when you have a clear day, a sunshiny day, it's difficult to see the ball off the bat. Not today. It's overcast, and they can see very well.
Fouled at the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Thompson. Jason opened the 2nd inning with a lazy fly ball that Terry Whitfield had to back up for in left field. Hershiser. You'll recall in summer of '84 had the back-to-back 2-hitters. Both of them shut out. There's a fly ball deep to left center. Whitfield, and he'll touch them all. Jason Thompson with home run number 5, and it propels the Pirates to a 2-1 lead here in the 4th.
Hit by Bill Madlock sets this up. And watch this home run. He throws the fastball. Oh, it's a breaking ball out over the plate. And Jason stayed back. He waited. And it was all over but the shouting. That home run is the 3rd hit by Pittsburgh against the Dodgers this year. All of last year, they hit only 3 home runs off of Los Angeles.
What you saw there a moment ago, a ball clearing the fence against the Dodgers, has been a real rarity in 1985, Mike.
23 scoreless innings just ended with that swing. Hallelujah, says Chuck Tanner over in the dugout. Hallelujah. Now the gates are open.
Will drop it into left field. He's turning for 2. And dives headfirst ahead of the throw.
We talked earlier, Madlock is the guy that has to lead the offense. And here he's taking the lead in the 5th inning. Excuse me, the 4th.
Incidentally, for Hershiser, that is the first home run he has given up all year. For the Dodgers as a team, their staff has only given up 8 until that one right there. And that is tops in all of baseball. So after the 2 quick outs, Madlock, who singled to center, Jason Thompson, who jumped on a breaking ball and pounded over the left center field wall, and now Kemp with a double down the line in left. And here's Tony Pena. He looks at Hershiser's first delivery and pounds it foul.
Look at the sort of sitting over there. He's got his tea, a few cookies over there. I bet you they don't taste quite as good now as they did the last inning.
No, there's no question about that. Pena hitting 229. Boy, Hershiser with a sparkling 1.98 ERA. Fastball misses. 2 balls into strikes, says Joe West.
You know, Joe West, the home plate umpire, is a country western singer. In fact, he has an album out.
He was telling me about that. Says he sits in his little riverfront cottage in North Carolina and just sings country.
He wrote 3 of the songs on the album.
2 balls into strike. Chopper. Tough play. Guerrero. Off balance.
Great.
He got him, says Eric Gregg. And Pena can't believe it. But the inning is over. The Pirates are on the board. That is a rarity. They lead it 2-1.
We'll give you a look at the last play. Pedro Guerrero made an excellent play. Comes in. He knew he had a little more time because of Pena running, and that's why he caught the ball in his glove, threw it over low, and watched the play by Brock on the other end. A heck of a grab.
Now, a moment ago, fans here in Dodger Stadium erupted when it was flashed on the Diamond Vision that the Lakers are out in front of the Denver Nuggets in Game 1 of that playoff series, 102-68 in the 3rd period.
Nothing to do here in Los Angeles, Phil. Beaches are packed. Ballpark is packed. Forum is packed. You just go on and on. They have sporting events out here. USC playing a football game in September. They packed the Coliseum.
You don't suppose there's anybody at Hollywood Park, do you?
50,000 there, 50 here.
Mike Marshall, a count of 1 ball to no strikes as we approach the Dodger half of the 4th. They trail 2-1.
What I like about this player is his aggressiveness. He goes up there to swing the bat. He's a big, strong kid. He likes to play, and he doesn't get cheated very often.
De Leon to the plate. There's the big breaking ball. It rides too high. 2 balls into strike. De Leon, seems like every staff in the majors, Mike, has a tough luck pitcher. And there's no question but that Jose fills that spot for the Pirates. In his first 2 starts, the Pirates scored single runs for him before he was lifted for a pinch hitter. There's a shot to left field.
Mr. Kemp had a tough play. He made it pretty well, too. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know whether to come in, go back. He didn't know which way to turn. But I'll say this for the young man. He kept his eye on the baseball, and when he did have to turn and go the other way, he didn't turn his back, crossed the legs, and made a fine play. That was a vicious sinking line drive.
With 1 out, here is Guerrero, who made the fine play on Tony Pena's ground ball to retire the Pirates in the top of the 4th. And he hooks a breaking ball in there for a strike, says Joe West.
You know, we had talked earlier about the overcast sky. If that would have been a sunshiny day and Kemp had to make that play, I'll bet you he wouldn't have caught that ball. He wouldn't have been able to see it as well.
Sort of a leaden gray sky here in Los Angeles.
The other night here, Phil, they had a 50-minute rain delay.
0-2. Fly ball center field. That'll chase Marvell Wynn near the warning track. And he retires Pedro Guerrero. And the thing that you have to congratulate Marvell Wynn on is the way he went to the wall with that free hand extended.
Give you another look at it. The reason you have a warning track at the ballpark is because of this. When he goes, he can't take his eye off the ball, see? Now he's feeling for the wall. Now he knows he's on the track because he can feel the difference from grass to gravel. And that's why it's there, to help the outfielders know where the wall is and keep them from being injured.
Here's Scioscia.
I don't think Jose fooled Marshall or Guerrero the last 2 fly balls.
Broken back ground ball. It's foul.
That's what they call getting in your kitchen, rattling the pots and pans. He busted off the stove, didn't he?
Ooh.
This is a major league jam. throw that ball in on the player's hands. The ball makes contact with the bat, and the big end comes whipping across. Game thus far. Fourth inning action in Los Angeles. Big crowd again today. They just keep coming out at this ballpark.
Well, it is helmet weekend here at Dodger Stadium. All the youngsters all weekend long who come out receive a free Dodger batting helmet. 0-1 now to Socia. 2 outs, bottom of the fourth. Pirates on top 2-1. There's the off-speed break involved. It's inside of all in the strike.
I was proud of you last night. You got your helmet and you gave it to the first little kid you saw walking out of the stadium.
Wasn't that something?
That made me feel good.
1 ball, 1 strike. Grounded at the plate, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, I figure his career's ahead of him. The beautiful Dodger blue helmets.
Her mother's gonna kill it. Took her an hour and a half to fix that beautiful blonde hair of hers, and she put that Dodger helmet on, and her dad's saying, "Not a way to go, kid."
The 1-2 pitch out of play.
Speaking of Mother's Day, tomorrow, a very, very happy Mother's Day to all the moms along the way.
Socia has hit in 9 of his last 13 games. Had a pretty decent April. While hovering around the 300 mark all month long. Finally finished at 294. Had 6 RBIs in the month of April. Here's a guy who's just thankful he's playing baseball again, Mike.
I'll tell you, the Dodgers have had quite a few of those particular types of players.
Shot, it'll reach the stands for Socia. Nearly had his career ended last year by a rotator cuff injury. Tommy John, you remember, he also had problems with his throwing arm when he was playing for the Dodgers.
I got a kick out of Tommy's quote when they operated on him and they made that tendon, removed it from one arm, put it in his other arm, and they asked him something about what they did, and he said, "They put a Sandy Koufax fastball in my arm." He wishes.
There's a line shot. Marvell win on his horse. Did he get to it? No.
We talked earlier about De Leon and throwing the fastball. Now he throws the fastball to Socia, and he breaks his bat with it. That's how good it is. Now he comes back and he throws that forkball that Tanner doesn't want him to throw. Watch. He's out in front, but he still stays there and gets the base hit. I know what Chuck is saying over there right now. How many times do I have to tell you, young man? How many times? And a great effort by the center fielder, but he just couldn't quite hold on.
So with 2 outs, Socia is aboard, and here is Greg Brock. He hit a towering foul ball down the first base side that Jason Thompson flagged down to begin the 2nd inning.
I don't know when this kid's going to break out of it, but when he does, he's liable to never look back. The Pirates got a 2-out single and got the home run from Jason Thompson. Now, Socia, a 2-out single.
Well, you talk about Brock breaking out of it. I remember when he came up with the Dodgers, his first full season in 1983. He had 20 home runs, 66 RBIs. He won a couple of minor league home run titles. Another year in the Pacific Coast League, he had 44 home runs with Albuquerque.
Let's see if he challenges him 2-0. Yes, he's got away with a pretty good pitch.
2 balls and a strike now to Greg.
You know you're struggling. When you get your pitch, you're right on it, you have a good swing, good timing, and you foul the pitch off. That's what Brock just did.
Outside. You know, Ben Wade, the Dodger scout, Check that outside corner, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Labeled Greg Brock a couple of years ago, Mike, as the best power hitting prospect the Dodgers have had since the Duke.
Averaged something like 30 home runs a year in the minor leagues.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the 4th inning. Dodgers trail 2-1. They have been out hit 4-2.
You can just see the youngster struggling. He has the pressure on him. He knows that he can do it, but he can't get it going for some reason or another, and he's racking his brain, and that leads to more trouble. He's too tight, not free and easy up there, not relaxed.
2 balls, 2 strikes. An indication of what you're speaking of, Mike, is the fact that when Brock is in his stride, he is usually a pull hitter.
They try to jam him with the fastball, and he did.
And he popped him up. Ray is back. Probel coming in. It'll be Johnny Ray. He retires Brock and the Dodgers here in the 4th inning. 2-1. Pirates will be back after these messages from your local station. Welcome you to Dodger Stadium. Phil Stone along with Mike Shannon. Some of you who are expecting to see Vin and Joe. Well, that game was rain delayed in Kansas City. We understand it is underway, Kansas City and the Yankees. But, boy, we're seeing a heck of a ball game right here, Mike.
Just what we thought, a pitching duel. It's 2-1 as we go to the 5th.
And to begin the 5th inning, it'll be Doug Probel, and he takes a look at a ball from Oral Hershiser. Following Probel will be Billy Ullman. There's a chopper. Sachs will have to wait. Gets the big hop on across to Brock, and Probel is retired to open the 5th. Right now, let's go to New York for this update.
Bill Ullman.
All right, Phil, in Kansas City, the Royals have gotten the scoring started against the Yankees. Hal McRae, who has not had a productive early season, with a solo home run in the bottom of the 2nd, into the seats in left. First home run of the year for McRae, who's been in a slump. And the Royals, who have just scored 2 more, lead it 3-0.
All right, Bill, thank you very much for that update. Of course, Hal McRae, a year ago, had problems getting in track, and his problems continue here in 1985. At a fastball. It's away from the plate. A ball into strike down. The Pirates with the 2 spot in the 4th. They all come on 1 swing of the bat from Jason Thompson. A 2-run homer with 2 outs in the 4th. Ullman inside. 2 balls and a strike. Will it stay fair? Oh, is that a beauty?
That was a great bunt. And he got a bad break when the ball hit the edge of the grass and rolled onto the dirt. But it stayed fair, came right back in. Watch it hit the grass there and then roll. It looked like it was going to go foul. No, they've got the lines here tilted to fair territory because of the Dodger speed.
How often, though, do you see a ball that reaches the dirt part of the cutout and stay fair? Not very often.
Every third baseman, every first baseman, and if they're smart pitchers, should come out to a ballpark and take a ball and roll it from home plate down each line to see what the ball does and which way the field is tilted.
I don't think I've ever seen a player do that before a game.
I used to.
Did you?
I needed all the help I could get, man. I couldn't take any chances. Yeah, I'd come out and roll that ball down each line just to see.
De Leon squares, doesn't get it.
Most fields, Phil, are tilted away from the playing surface because of the drainage. But here at Dodger Stadium, as you saw, no such.
Boy, look at Guerrero at third base. Is he in? De Leon fouls it to the backstop.
His insurance man, if he's in the stadium today, if De Leon swings, his insurance man may have a heart attack. Pedro's only about 30 feet away.
And now Pedro's going to back up a bit. He was in about another 8 feet a moment ago.
Chuck Tanner tells the story about his third baseman. He moved him in one day, They had a bunting situation, and he took his third baseman and he put him on the first base side, and he put him about 30 feet away from the batter. It was Phil Garner. They did get the man out, but Garner came in and he said, "Skip, I don't mind doing what you tell me. I don't mind moving in close for the bunt." But he said, "Don't you think 30 feet's a little ridiculous?"
Well, De Leon is gone. A strikeout for Hershiser. That is his 4th on the afternoon. Now your Cardinals are getting it done at Candlestick, Mike.
They won big last night. They scored 9 times. They're struggling also, but you cannot believe that stealing machine they have over there, Phil. They have this youngster. Well, we had a little segue on him in the pregame show. His name is Vince Coleman, and he is the most amazing base stealer I have ever seen. And I saw Lou Brock for almost every game he played for the St. Louis Cardinals. When you see this kid, you will just not believe him. I've changed Whitey Herzog's name. You will no longer hear about Alibaba. It's Whitey Herzog in the 40 Thieves.
Wind hits a ground ball. Brock will field it on a couple of hops, unassisted. And the Pirates are gone in their half of the 5th. They don't score. 2-1 Pirates. We'll be back in a moment. At the bottom of the 5th inning we go. It'll be Terry Whitfield, R.J. Reynolds, and Orel Hershiser. Whitfield 0 for 1 today. He was De Leon's first strikeout victim with 1 out in the 2nd inning. De Leon with 2 Ks, both of them coming in inning number 2. Breaking ball, and there are called strikes, says Joe West.
Wants the fastball outside.
And he got it. Perfect. Right where he wanted it. You ever do any catching?
The first game I ever caught in my life was in the big leagues. I never caught a game in amateur ball, high school, anything. We had Bob Euchre and Tim McCarver. They both were injured, and I caught
You caught one.
a game in St. Louis.
You caught one more than Euchre caught.
Very good, very good. It's amazing how many people off of that Cardinal team have gone into this broadcasting business.
Popped him up. That's Allman. He's got it. And Whitfield is gone.
Bill White, Dick Grote, Tim McCarver, Bob Euchre, Bob Gibson, Kurt Flood.
This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. And here's R.J. hitting .222 coming into the ball game. 0 for 1 today. Breaking ball, it's a beauty. I'll tell you, De Leon, Mike, is just feeding the corners today.
He's pitched very well. He's pitched very well. Not only this game, but most of the season.
Well, as I started to say back in the 3rd inning, in his first 2 outings this year, he left the ball game trailing 1-0. And in his last 2 outings, he has also been the victim of really very, very low run production.
Pitching hasn't bothered the Pirates this year. It's been their offense. They had one game where they scored 16 runs, and they scored it against this Dodger club. If you take that game away from this team, they're averaging just a tick over 2 per game.
And the Dodgers, on the other hand, are up over that as a team. It's out of play.
Well, the Dodgers
almost 4.
And they're 2nd in the league in pitching.
That's right.
Behind Chicago. Of course, that's not surprising about Los Angeles. As you alluded to earlier, they've always had good pitching. It starts from their scouts, and then it goes through their minor league system, their managers, their pitching coaches down there, and right up to the big leagues.
De Leon to the plate. There's the breaking ball, and he pounds it foul. So Reynolds will face De Leon now at the count of a ball and 2 strikes.
The first base coach for Los Angeles, you just saw him field that foul ball, Manny Mota, one of the great all-time pinch hitters. He played for Pittsburgh, and that's where he learned how to pinch hit. The Pirates had the greatest pinch hitters. They go back to Bob Skinner, who coaches here, Smokey Burgess.
Madlock cannot field it, and R.J. has the third Pirate hit of the afternoon.
Lynch was another great pinch hitter for that Pirate ball club. They had the secret over there.
How about Smokey Burgess?
Yeah, I mentioned him. Those aren't accidents either, Phil. Just like the Dodger pitching is not an accident, or the San Francisco ball club signing all those great hitters. They signed the Alou brothers, Willie Mays, Cepeda, McCovey. You go on and on.
One out. Dodgers with the tying run aboard. Hershiser shortens up the bunt, takes the breaking ball off the plate for a ball. Now the wave has begun here at Dodger Stadium.
Here's where De Leon ought to be throwing that fastball of his. He throws a 90-plus fastball, and it's not a straight fastball either. It rides, it moves, darts in, darts out. It's not that easy to bunt. He should be pumping that fastball in, up around the letters, to try to get the pop-up. He tried it. He got it a little too high, but that's where you have to throw it. He's missed twice now upstairs. Give Hershiser some credit for not trying to offer at it. Now I have to bring it down a little bit.
2 balls and no strikes. Reynolds with a good lead. Off the plate now, 3-0. So De Leon.
You can't believe that. He threw him a 2-0 slider. I can't believe that pitch.
Well, that goes back to what you talked about in the 4th inning, Mike. Chuck Tanner has to be pulling his hair out. And now here comes Tony Pena, probably to say, what in the world are you doing?
He's going to bunt. You know he's going to bunt. He's squared around even before you started your motion towards the plate. And he throws him a slider. That's very hard to believe. Evidently what Pena thought is that he has lost the control with the fastball because he missed with the first 2. So he tried to get the breaking ball out. Didn't work, did it? He'll take a pitch now. He's just acting like he's bunting, but he's taking.
3 balls and a strike now to Hershiser. Hershiser can hit the baseball. Has a couple of hits already. I don't know what it is about Dodger pitchers. They not only are effective on the rubber, but you put a bat in their hands, a lot of them hit the ball.
They work at it, that's why. They work at bunting and they work at hitting. Every day before batting practice starts, the Dodger pitchers, when they're at home, come out and they practice bunting. Every pitcher on the team.
3 balls and 2 strikes now. Following Hershiser, we go to the top of the order in Steve Sachs.
What do you think? You think you'll bunt 3 and 2?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Sacrifice complete. To second base goes Reynolds. He is the tying run. And here comes Steve Sachs.
You see the kind of confidence that Tommy Lasorda had in Hershiser as a bunter. With 2 strikes, still had him squaring.
Well, Lasorda's philosophy is and always has been, I do not accept the fact that my pitcher has to be an automatic out.
Much like Jose Guante throwing down there, Cecilio Guante.
Now, Sachs is officially been to the plate today. He has walked twice, scored the Dodgers' only run back in the 1st inning. And he has a chance here with a base hit to tie the game at 2. The Pirates here in the bottom of the 5th, 2 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. The Dodgers, a lone run, 3 hits, and no errors. R.J. Reynolds at second base. Breaking ball off the plate.
If Sachs does get the 2-out RBI base hit, it'll be very difficult for the Pirate outfielders to cut this man down at the plate because he runs well. The best throwing arm is in right field, Doug Froben. He gets a one-hop line drive shot to him, he could have a chance.
Sachs, the 1982 National League Rookie of the Year. Here's a 2-0 pitch, and there a called strike. Of course, you remember in 1983, had the almost unbelievable problems in the field with the glove. Figured out those problems in '84 when the bat fell off.
More so than the glove, it was his throwing that got him. He could not throw the ball from second base in the fielding position, the defensive alignment, to the first baseman. Probably the easiest throw on the diamond.
Of course, if you recall, his father had passed away in 1983. He was taking over for a very, very popular man here in Los Angeles, a man by the name of Davy Lopes.
You think that's bothered Mr. Brock? He has the same
Over for a legend here. And of course, you go back to 1983 when Steve Garvey departed Los Angeles. Garvey leading the National League in hits this year. He's right up around the league leaders in batting average. You don't think this ball club misses Steve Garvey's bat right now?
Don't you think Mr. Brock hears about it every day?
Every day. That's part of playing the game, though, when you come in and take over for a legend. Sachs, 3 balls and strikes. To go much further than Cincinnati. How about the catching situation there? You come in for a guy named Bench.
I'll tell you a story. I played left field in Chicago, Wrigley Field, one day. Musial was supposed to play. And Stan wasn't feeling well or something. After the inning.
All right. Probel to the line. Sachs is gone. Inning complete. 5 in the books. Pirates 2, Dodgers 1. We'll return in a moment. Well, as you heard in our NBC pregame today, a federal grand jury investigation into the possible use of drugs in Major League Baseball is about to conclude its 4-month investigation in Pittsburgh. Earlier today, Mike Shannon talked to Pirate manager Chuck Tanner about the effect of that investigation.
Well, the tough part is that people come in the clubhouse, that's all they talk about. Baseball seems to be secondary. They say it's centered in Pittsburgh. They have all the ball players coming in from all the teams in Pittsburgh because that's where they're having their meetings with the ball players.
That's a distraction that a manager does not need, and that's one that Chuck Tanner has.
And not only does a manager not need it, but what about the players and perhaps the overall scope of things, Mike, the sport of baseball?
It's not a healthy situation, and I know that all the members of Major League Baseball would certainly like to eradicate it.
Here's Johnny Ray to open the 6th inning. He is 0 for 2 on the day. Johnny Ray, I believe, and I believe it wholeheartedly, he is one of the most underrated players in the National League. Here's a guy who, when he comes to the plate, he gets his swings in. He has only struck out 3 times all year, and until he went into San Diego 3 days ago, he had fanned just once all year.
You put the ball in play, you stand a very good chance.
One ball and 2 strikes. Timmy Raines a year ago for the National League lead with 38 doubles. Well, he puts it in play. We go back when he played for Tucson back in, I believe it was 1980 or 81. He led the league with 50 two-baggers. Like you were telling a story a moment ago before we went away about you playing in a ball game from usual. People came out expecting to see the man out in left field.
Stan the man. It was his last trip around the league, and of course they were before his retirement. As you see the shortstop take care of Mr. Ray. They had promoed Musial's last visit to every city in the league. So this one particular day in Chicago, Stan wasn't feeling well, or he was tired from the. It was really a haul on him. But anyway, he wasn't going to play that day, and of course, everyone was expecting him to play. So I played in his place in left field. And you know how close the bleachers are in Wrigley Field.
Absolutely.
So I get out there in the first inning, and there's a man sitting out in the first row in the bleachers with his son. He said, hey, Shannon, where's Musial? I said, well, he's not playing today.
You talked to the man in the stand.
Yeah. He said, you mean he's not playing today? He says, you mean I drove all the way from Keokuk, Iowa to watch you play? I mean, he ragged me for about 4 or 5 innings. So finally, I went into the clubhouse, and Stan was in there. I said, Stan, you got to do me a favor. I said, will you sign this ball for me? He said, sure, Mike. So I go out in the 5th or 6th inning. Guy rags me again. Hey, kid, when's Musial coming out here? There's his little boy sitting up there, you know, about 8 or 9. So I walked up to him and I said, what's your name, young man? He told me. I said, here, this is from Stan Musial, and I gave him the ball. I said, don't give it to your dad either.
Madlock takes one on the forearm. Youch.
He got 2 hits here last night, Madlock. He gets a base hit here in the ball game to lead to the 2-run homer by Thompson, so he gets a calling card. Says, that inside part of the plate you can have, Mr. Madlock, but the outside belongs to me. The fastball ran in on him, caught him on that elbow. If you get hit just above the elbow, the doctors so tell me that there's a nerve that runs from your elbow, the back of it, right up your arm to your shoulder, and right across your shoulder up to your neck and into the brain area. And boy, I've seen guys get hit there. It takes a little while for it to react. I've seen people hit there. They go down to first base, and they get down to first base, and they simply pass out. And that's exactly where he got it. More on the top, though, than the back.
Well, you remember last year he was slowed for a good part of the season with an injury to his right arm that ended up requiring surgery.
He's tough, though. I can just hear that Pirate bench now. Rub some dirt on it, Captain. Rub some dirt on it.
Well, Madlock, who had singled back in the 4th inning, is the guy who got it going for the man at the plate, Jason Thompson. Sent an Oral Hershiser curveball high over the wall in left center. Off-speed breaking ball. A ball and a strike. Jason Thompson, originally drafted by the Dodgers. Back in 1972. Madlock with a lead, 1-1 pitch off the plate, 2-1.
What was the deal with Jason Thompson? He came to the Pirates from the Angels, and they sent him back, and then the commissioner said he had to stay in Pittsburgh. That was an unusual situation about a trade.
You know what's interesting about this man? He has hit at least 1 home run in every ballpark in the major leagues, with the exception of 1. The Metrodome. It wasn't built when he was in the American League. You'd think he'd just stop through Minneapolis and tee one up and knock it out.
He may have it in his contract that he gets traded over there before he's finished. He gets 1 shot at it.
2 balls and 1 strike. Now, Hershiser has allowed the Pirates a couple of runs on 5 hits. He has struck out 4. Out of play, 2 balls and 2 strikes. I remember when Oral Hershiser, I believe it was the middle of July, 2 hit the Cubs 8-0. Came back 6 days later. 2 hit the Cardinals 10-0. You must remember that game.
Oh yes, this kid has a great arm.
Count stands at 2-2. Apparently, he and Socia are just not getting together on the signals.
It's not that so much. It's the location that he wants to talk to him about. And the Dodger catchers are very well schooled in calling a baseball game. It goes back to Johnny Roseboro as far as I'm concerned. They have great knowledge here on how to work their pitchers.
2 balls, 2 strike pitch inside 3-2. Mike, how much a part of a pitcher's success does a catcher play?
99% of all pitchers, I think it plays a a tremendous part. There are an exceptional few. Don Sutton, Tom Seaver, people like that. They can pitch to anyone.
There goes Matlock on 3-2. Ground ball. Sachs has it on a couple of hops. Sets on to Brock. 4-3. So with 2 outs, let's go to New York for this update.
All right, Phil, in Kansas City, the Yankees have gotten on the board against the Royals with Dave Winfield at first. Butch Weiniger hits a shot to George Brett. Brett overthrows Steve Valboni at first. The ball goes into right field. Winfield goes home, and the Royals' lead is cut to 2, 3-1, top of the 4th.
Thanks, Billy. 3-1, top of the 4th at KC. 2-1. We are in the top of the 6th here at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. And here is Steve Kemp. Kemp 2 for 2 on the afternoon. He has certainly solved the mystery of Mr. Hershiser. Kemp, a 1-out single in the 2nd. And a 2-out double in the 4th following Jason Thompson's home run.
They're counting heavily on Mr. Kemp to give them offense. Here's a key spot for him. They have a base open and a right-handed batter next, so they'll be careful with him.
Too low, 2 balls and no strikes.
Is the sort of pitcher that can pitch around a particular batter. A lot of pitchers cannot do that for some reason or another, and what the manager will do is simply walk the man. In this instance, Hershiser's good at it, so he'll pitch around him, make the perfect pitch if he can, just like that one.
Certainly one of the beneficiaries of all that Ron Peronowski has to teach. And before that, how about Red Adams? Bert Hooton says Red Adams, former pitching coach in this Dodger organization, made him everything he ever was.
And a lot to go with it. Fellas like Claude Osteen, Johnny Padre, Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale. The list is endless, and that guy, he was the relief man for all of those pitchers that I just mentioned. He'd come out of that bullpen. He developed a screwball. He was an excellent hurler.
I'll tell you what. How many times do you see a relief pitcher swung on and miss? Kemp goes down. And the Pirates are gone in the 6th. For Hershiser, it is strikeout number 5. We'll be back in a moment. The champ needs only 2 more wins to tie Rocky Marciano's record for an undefeated champion. And the truth comes in having won all 16 of his previous fights, Mike. 12 of them by KO.
You mentioned the great Rocky. Talked to a boxer one day that fought against him.
Is that right?
And he told me, he said, it's unbelievable. He said, I fought him for 5 rounds, and he never put a glove on my face. I blocked everything with my hands. He said, when I came out in the 6th round, I could not raise my hands.
Both of my hands.
Because he beat him. He put Charlie horses on his hands, his arms, and he couldn't raise them. And he said he hit me 1 time, knocked me out. They say at one time Rocky broke another fighter's arm, just hitting him on the arm with the gloves and broke his arm. So that tells you what a great fighter Holmes is. He's going to tie his record.
Mariano Duncan to begin the Dodgers 6th inning. He's 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Singled back in the 1st inning. Popped it up. It'll reach the seats. Mariano Duncan and Pedro Guerrero from the same hometown, San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. Well, there's a whole bunch of ball players from there.
And good ones, too.
Ooh.
Andahar. You can go on and on.
Juan Samuel, I believe Rafael Ramirez. George Bell with Toronto. Tony Fernandez with the Jays.
Julio Franco. Castillo. Go on and on.
Right fielder.
Tell you what, they're working on cloning. They ought to head right for that city and clone some great baseball players.
Not only that city, but how about that country?
Oh.
A very small country.
Marshall swings on the first offering from De Leon, and ouch, off the instep, and Marshall's down.
Let's take another look. Fastball. sinks right off of the instep. He got that one on the instep more than the toe. And that can be serious at times. These baseball shoes that they have today are excellent. But they don't have much padding when that ball's coming at them. It'll take him a little while to get himself together. Up here in the broadcast booth, there's a former Dodger catcher by the name of Joe Ferguson. And he charts. There you see him right there. He helps with the defense when the Dodgers are in the field. He has a direct line on the telephone from his vantage point to the dugout. Here last night in a ball game that the Dodgers won 1-0 in a key spot in the ball game. He moved the right fielder over to his right 2 steps, and the ball was hit right there, and that may have saved the entire game.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Excuse me. Ferguson is very good at that because he's a Dodger catcher. He knows how these pitchers work. He knows how the catchers want to work the batters, and consequently, he doesn't go by the charts all the time. He goes by his feeling and about what he thinks that catcher's going to call and how the pitcher's throwing. It's really been a big help to this Dodger defense.
Swung on and missed. Marshall is history. That is strikeout number 4 for De Leon. Of course, the question comes up, Mike, can the game of baseball perhaps become too scientific? And when do you start putting headsets in the players' caps, microphones in the backs of the gloves?
Well, with all the scientific data that we have today and all the computers, so forth and so on, you still have to put that information in it. And that's where the key is. What you put in there, how much you put in there, and then once it's in there, how do you use it? There's the key. It's certainly an advantage. It's if you utilize it properly.
0-1 pitch. Inside to Guerrero.
I'll tell you, the fellow that really was one of the beginners in that particular phase of the game, Mike Marshall, the great relief pitcher. Now, they called him a kook for doing such things.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I guess they did to Aristotle also, didn't they?
Here's the 1 ball, 1 strike offering. Inside, 2 balls and a strike.
And here later, now we have a manager with New York putting everything in the computer, and he has a readout.
Davy Johnson
carries it with him in his pocket in the dugout.
Of course, he's not the first guy that did that. In Oakland, Steve Boros used to do it.
Well, they've been keeping personal books for years in this game. Pictures on how they got hitters out. Now they've just capitalized on the 20th century day mechanisms, machinery.
De Leon, a count of 3 balls and a strike. He has 4 strikeouts on the day. Now the man in the white hat, the Panama back there, holds up a radar gun. He is clocking De Leon's pitches.
And he also charts every pitch. What the count was, where it was when it was hit, what the speed was, so forth and so on. But with all the technology, it all gets down to the player. He still has to put it in motion.
2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. De Leon winds. He has a 2-1 lead. Guerrero pounds it to right. Frobel on his horse, and nobody will get to this one. Guerrero will have another opportunity. I'll tell you, this is one of baseball's better trades, I believe. Pedro Guerrero to the Dodgers from Cleveland for a left-handed reliever. One of the all-time greats by the name of Bruce Ellingson.
Well, now they're even.
That's right.
Because I'll tell you what happened here years ago. They tried to hide a fella in the minor leagues. Not protect him. The Dodgers did. You know what his name was? The late Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, I'll tell you. One of those old gotchas. Guerrero with the count of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody aboard. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. Pirates 2, Los Angeles 1. De Leon. And it's out of play. Boy, the Dodgers Dodgers, tied for the league lead with 23 home runs. They could certainly use one right here off the bat of Guerrero, but 19 of those 23 home runs, Mike, have come with nobody aboard.
That's not a good combination.
There's a shot to left field. Kemp is there. It looked as if it might carry, but it did not. End of inning. Pirates 2, Dodgers 1. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Stadium, it is a Pittsburgh Pirate lead 2-1, and the Dodgers continue to have problems hitting the ball, Mike, with men on base. They're averaging 190 in that department.
They're still playing well, though, and winning, and that's the key. When you're not hitting and you're winning with that good pitching, you're taking advantage of it. That's the key of a championship ball club.
It's called making every run count. And when you talk about this Dodger ball club, and their last 13 games, they have left 100 runners on base. There's Fernando. Hello, Fernando.
He's got good ears, man. He's got good ears.
You heard me all the way up here.
Think he can pitch?
Partner?
We better check his ears. Fantastic.
Tony Pena to lead things off here in the Pirate half of the 7th. He's 0 for 2 in the ball game. Down the right field side, it's out of play. What Fernando, a couple of weekends ago, was a Sunday afternoon here at Dodger Stadium. Going into the 9th inning against the Padres, he had pitched a one-hitter. It was a scoreless ball game. And then Tony Gwynn knocked one out of the park. There's a shot hit deep, and it's foul. Oh, is it hit deep? How would you like to pitch a two-hitter and lose 1-0? That happened to Fernando.
No, thank you. I played in the game in San Francisco one day, and Bob Gibson gave up 5 home runs and won the game 6-5.
He must have been playing the Dodgers. They don't hit home runs with guys on base.
It was easy to give 5 home runs to that San Francisco club. Mays, Cepeda, McCovey, Jimmy Ray Hart, Ballou.
Pena pounds it foul again. Count stands at a ball and 2 strikes. Now the Pirates are trying to shake off a 5-game losing streak. Gets away from Socia. Count evens at 2-2. Now coming into today's action, here's a look at the National League East. And keep in mind, the Mets won again today. They beat the Phils 4-0. Pirates already 10 games out. Hey, you go back just 6 years ago when the Pirates won it. This very week, that club was 10 games out. The year they won the championship.
1964. That Cardinal ball club was something like 10 or 12 games out in the latter part of August. And of course, that's the Gene Mauch Philadelphia collapse they had.
Now the Dodgers trying to edge ahead of the Padres. And they can do it today if they can beat the Pirates and if the Cubs can hand another loss to the Padres. Of course, Chicago beating San Diego last night.
How about that Pete Rose Cincinnati Red Club? He's getting some mileage out of those players over there, isn't he? Including the oldest player he has himself.
What a pitch. What a pitch from Hershiser. A hard-breaking curveball.
And it produces his 6th strikeout. He threw it in at the batter, and it curved, caught the inside corner. And a very effective pitch, but a dangerous one.
Throwable fastball low. Now, elsewhere around Major League Baseball today, action continuing. We told you the Mets over the Phillies 4-0. Here at Dodger Stadium, it is 2-1 Pirates over the Dodgers, with 1 out on the top of the 7th. New York leading Kansas City now 9-3. Baylor just hit a grand slam home run. J.J. Reynolds flagging down Doug Fogos. Fly ball. St. Louis leading the Giants 8-5. That game now in the 5th inning. Suppose Vince Coleman has been flying around the base paths a bit.
He gets on, he will definitely steal. He steals third base better than any player in the history of the game. If that kid can continue to hit and hit at the 300 level, he has an excellent chance of breaking every record in the stolen base department that is in the record book.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that Vince Coleman is the best base stealer going from second and third in the history of this game?
Correct. He steals third base the same way he steals second. He's the only player I've ever seen do it. His lead from second base is just like it is from first. I've seen him steal third base 3 times this year when the second baseman was closer to the base than he was on his leadoff. The thing to do with him is don't cover second base when he's on. Let the shortstop and the second baseman stay away, because when they're further away, he still doesn't change his lead. He leads just like he leads off of first base.
Allman looks at ball 3. Billy 1 for 2 on the day, had a bunt single in the 5th inning. A ball that, well, I'll tell you, it left the bat, creeped down the third base line, kissed the line, and rolled right back into fair territory and stopped.
That wasn't a kiss, it was a caress.
Geez, I've never mistaken those before.
You're getting old, my man, you're getting old.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Hershiser to the plate. And it is strikeout number 7 for Orel Hershiser. And avenging Pirates leading the Dodgers 2-1. Now, here's another edition of Baseball Remembers.
Gentlemen, it's time.
Old Spice presents Baseball Remembers. Brought to you by new Old Spice Solid Antiperspirant. It keeps you so much drier you just might want to switch from your old antiperspirant midstick. Harmon Killebrew talks about taking advantage of his natural ability.
I think I learned very early in my career the type of hitter I was going to be, and I tried to work on that. I learned that I wasn't going to be a real fast runner, that I wasn't going to be able to bunt very well and get base hits, but I did find out that I had some power, so I tried to develop that over the years, and that's here that I worked very hard on. I guess every ball player is categorized in different areas. I suppose I'll be remembered as a power hitter, and I suppose that's the way I'd like to be thought of.
22 years ago today, a left-hander by the name of Sandy Koufax recorded his second no-hitter of his illustrious career. Mikey had 4 in all. He retired the first 22 Giants he faced. And you go back to '63, and I think you'd have to say the San Francisco Giants, you touched on a moment ago, had to be one of the, if not the, hardest-hitting team in baseball in '63.
Well, Mr. Koufax, for a 5-year period, was the best pitcher the game has ever known, possibly. He had a 5-year period where he was just overpowering. I got the biggest ovation in the history of this ballpark right here. A visiting player, yeah.
What did you do?
I became Sandy Koufax's 363rd strikeout victim to set an all-time Major League record. No other player has gotten an ovation, a visiting player, that big. I tipped my cap and nobody even saw me.
Well, Tom Niedenfuhr is up and throwing in the Los Angeles bullpen. So should lead things off here in the Dodger half of the 7th. He'll be followed by Brock and Terry Whitfield. Dodgers trailing 2-1. Of course, had the guy ahead of you in the Cardinal lineup done his job, you wouldn't have that distinction. Who was that, Euchre?
Yeah, Euchre. He put me in the books. I'm in the books with some great ones. Babe Ruth and I hold the record together. Did you know that? Yeah. The great Babe Ruth and Mike Shannon are the only two guys in the history of Major League Baseball to strike out 5 consecutive times in a World Series. Now listen, if it's good enough for the Bambino, it's got to be good enough for the Irishman.
Scioscia draws a walk, a leadoff walk from De Leon to open the 7th inning. You're the kind of guy that probably knew that when you went to the plate that 5th time.
Well, that pitcher knew it.
Well, here comes Grant Jackson out of the Pirate dugout. He'll have a word with Jose De Leon.
Not only will he have a word with him, but he'll also give the Pirate bullpen a chance to warm a little longer.
Well, while Grant Jackson has a few words, let's go to New York for this update.
All right, Phil, in Kansas City, the Yankees have come roaring back with 9 runs in the 4th. 4 here on a grand slam by Don Baylor. All 9 Yankee batters scored. The 9th career grand slam for Baylor. The inning started 3-0 Royals. It's now 9-3 Yankees. Phil?
Thanks, Bill. Situation here in Los Angeles. Pirates over the Dodgers 2-1. For the Buccos, 2-5-0. For the fellows wearing Dodger blue, 1-3-0. Well, Grant Jackson, whatever he wanted to say to Jose De Leon, it took him a while to say it.
And the reason that it took him a while is because the bullpen is busy. And that's the job of the home plate umpire, to speed it up. And that's what Mr. West did. Went out and said, okay, gentlemen, we've had enough time.
Now Joe West. You know, he was a catcher for a Greenville, North Carolina all-star team when he was a teenager. And you know who was behind the plate in this championship game when Joe West was catching? The umpire down at third base, Frank Pulley, was the home plate umpire in the Teener championship game. The game that Joe West, there's Frank Pulley, the game that Joe West's team lost to West Allis, Wisconsin, way back in 1967.
Walks usually get pitchers in trouble.
There's that big sweeping breaking ball, and Brock looks at ball 2.
Here De Leon has a 1-run lead going into the 7th, and he walks the leadoff man.
Now the Candyman is up and throwing. Candyman trying to make the transition from starter to reliever. 3-0. It was Tanner, you'll recall, who made a reliever out of a man they call the Goose. That's gutsy. But when you have a need, you've got to fulfill that need. 3 balls and no strikes. Scioscia with the lead, and it is 4 wide ones to Greg Brown. Oh, boy. Keep in mind what I spoke of a moment ago. The Dodgers, in their last 13 games, Mike, have left 100 runners stranded.
That's going to be all. That'll be all for De Leon. They're going to go to the bullpen, and he'll make 2 switches here. As you see, Tanner, he's walking out to the umpire first, so that means that he'll make another switch.
All right, well, while Tanner talks things over with home plate umpire Joe West, the new pitcher, the Candyman, is on the way. We'll be back. For Jose De Leon, he leaves after 6+, allows 3 hits, a run. It was earned, 4 strikeouts and 4 bases on balls. But again, the situation for Jose De Leon is a case of very few runs. He leads the ball game, leading 2-1, and the Candyman is on. 1-3 on the year, trying to make that transition, Mike, from starter to short man.
And he's done a very fine job of it, Candelaria has. Joe Orsulak will be the left fielder. Kemp leaves the ball game. Orsulak takes over in left field in Kemp's spot. He'll bat 9th, Orsulak, and the pitcher, Candelaria, will hit in the spot vacated by Kemp. And the reason that Tanner went to the umpire first to tell him that, as you see the pinch hitter, Bob Baylor, at the platter, and Candelaria misses with the first one.
So Baylor hitting for Terry Whitfield. Baylor with a batting average of 0.53. Shortens the takes it inside, but a very good butter.
I despise this particular play in baseball. First and second, nobody out, and you try to move those runners up. You can do it better on a grass field rather than the artificial. But you see this particular play backfire more often than you see it succeed.
I would have to agree with you. Ray balls and no strikes. Fastball in there, a called strike. Situation being, I think what you're alluding to, Mike, is even if you do lay it down, now you've got runners at second, third with one out. Perhaps you walk R.J. Reynolds to get to Hershiser. There's the bunt. It's foul. And then you got the double play ball set up.
Well, I tell you what I used to do when I played third. I would tell the shortstop, you stay at second base. If I get that ball bunted to me hard on one hop, I threw the ball to the shortstop at second base, hopefully to get the double play. Even if I missed the double play, I still had runners at first and third, and the double play was in order.
Good point.
And then sometimes I would get the double play, and it was a man at third, 2 out.
Ray balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. The Dodgers threatening here in the bottom of the 7th. They trailed 2-1. Inside, Baylor walks.
Gutsy baseball by Tommy Lasorda. He started the runners on a 3-2 pitch with nobody out. The bases are loaded, and the Dodgers do not have a hit. 2 walked by the starter, De Leon, and now Candelaria comes in, and he follows suit. And we'll have another pinch batter in Candy Maldonado.
Now, Candy Maldonado, couple of home runs, 5 RBIs. Here's a guy who was a terror. I mean, an absolute terror in the minors. Always creeping up over the 300 mark. Couple of seasons in Albuquerque. 335 in 81, 301 in 82, 319 in 83. And has really accepted the fact, Mike, and I think after he's somewhat of a unique personality to do that, has accepted the fact that, hey, he's just not going to play every day up here.
Hard thing to do, especially for a youngster.
Now, Dodger pinch hitters are hitting .333 on the year. Oh, they'd love to have one here. Candelaria, that big sweeping breaking ball comes in high. There's Socia at third. Greg Brock is at second base, and Bob Baylor, the pinch hitter for Terry Whitfield, is holding down first. Nobody out. Dodgers down by 1, bottom of the 7th. Candelaria works 1-0 to Maldonado. Outside corner of beauty.
Candelaria is the type that can pitch out of a jam like this, but his back's to the wall. He has a win. He has 5 saves, and the Pirates have only 8 wins. He's figured in 6 of the 8.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fly ball will reach the seats as Maldonado reached and tried to send it out Doug Frobel's way. Well, you go back to June 23rd a year ago. Remember a game against Atlanta where Maldonado came in an identical situation and pounded a double to right center.
I know it's Mother's Day tomorrow, but have you ever seen Candy face Candy? We're seeing it now.
That's right. Now, Maldonado a year ago led this Dodger ball club with 9 pinch hits. The Candy man works 1-2. There's the breaking ball, and Maldonado is ripped out of the batter's box.
That's the kind of pitcher Candelaria is. He's capable of striking out the side. He's capable of working out of a jam like this, and that's why Tanner has inserted him into this ball game and into the bullpen. You saw an excellent breaking ball from Candelaria. We'll have another pinch batter. It will be the veteran Bill Russell.
And a smattering of boos greets Bill Russell as he comes out of the dugout because his appearance at the plate will take World Hershiser out of the ball game. Hershiser has pitched well today, but he will not get his 4th victory of the year.
Unless the Dodgers come roaring back here, and then he shall.
That's right. Well, Russell can certainly give him that 4th win. There's the breaking ball. It's a good hurt. Bases loaded with Dodger blue. Steve Sachs awaiting his turn in the on-deck circle.
You can get Russell on the double play ball. You can get him to hit it on the ground. At one time, one of the faster runners in the game from the right side. They got him. Oh,
and Madlock says he got him. Scioscia dives back in. Frank Pulley, the third base umpire, says and Scioscia took the tag right in the forehead.
I think his heart is beating a lot faster than his head is pounding right now.
What a throw by Pena.
He's a dangerous, dangerous catcher if you're on those bases. You see Madlock.
Scioscia.
He's still talking down there to Frank Pulley. Madlock thought he had him.
Scioscia is apparently hurt.
I don't know how bad he's hurt, but I guarantee you one thing. He's still scared. He thought he was picked off, and that's a cardinal sin in a situation like this. And it's taking him a little time to gather himself back. He's okay.
Now the trainer, Bill Bueller, says, "You're okay, Michael. Get back on third base." Well, Madlock and Pena almost combining to possibly take the Dodgers out of an inning.
They're in at the corners, first and third. They'll try to cut the ball into home.
Breaking ball. Little look for right field. Froebel on a dead run. Can't get to it. We're tied at 2.
The shortstop, Allman, didn't have his foot on the base. If he'd have stretched out and kept his foot on the base, the force out would have been good there. Not so. It's an RBI base hit for Russell as a pinch batter, and we're all knotted. Take another look at it. Right fielder. Froebel did all he could. Threw to second now. See, if he'd have kept his foot on the base, he'd have been out on the force out. But Allman couldn't keep his foot on the bat.
Here's Steve Sachs. Bases still loaded, 1 out. Candelaria checks the runners. There's the breaking ball. It's a strike. The runners had to freeze because they were uncertain, Mike, as to whether Froebel would catch that ball.
Yeah, the kid did a very good job of hustling all the way, decoying the runners, and then stopping at the last second.
Candy works 0-1. Ground ball. Should be double play. For the plate. On to first base. Not in time. So the run is cut down at the plate. And Sachs is alive on a fielder's choice. Bases still loaded, but now there are 2 outs.
It bounced just a little too high. And that's what gave Sachs, with that good speed of his, time to beat it. Even the great arm of Pena couldn't gun down the speedy Steve Sachs.
Now it is Baylor down at third base. Russell's at second, and Sachs occupies first with 2 outs. And again, the Dodgers in a situation where they could leave the bases full again, something they have done repeatedly in the last couple of weeks. Candelaria checks the runners. Here's the first offering to Duncan. In there, a called strike. Boy, the Dodgers as a team documented it back in the 5th inning, hitting 190 with runners in scoring position. As a team, L.A. Mike has left 227 runners on base. That is tops by a bunch in the National League.
And still, they're a half a game out of first place.
Isn't that something? Outside, 2 balls and a strike.
It indicates what a fine team they have. There's not much you can do about a struggling offense.
The Candyman 2-1. Did he miss? Yes, 3-1. Well, last night at dinner, you picked these Dodgers to be a part of the 1985 World Series. You feel that strongly?
Well, they've had some big, big problems with people being on the disabled list, including Pena. And their #1 pitcher, he's out for the entire year. But this Dodger club knows how to win, and it's going to be a scramble in the East, a scramble in the West. I don't see either division having a runaway.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Mariano Duncan. Bases loaded, tied at 2. Candelaria. Fly ball, left center field. Marvell Wynn should put it away as the Dodgers circle the base paths. They get nothing. They lead them full. We're tied at 2 as we head to the 8th. Tom Niedenfuhr on in relief of Oral Hershiser. There you see Niedenfuhr's numbers. 1-1 on the year, ERA of 3.86. He has a save to his credit. A couple of other defensive changes for the Dodgers. Out in left field is Bill Russell, who came on with that big RBI single with 1 out in the 7th inning. And out in center field is Candy Maldonado as he takes over for R.J. Reynolds. We go to the 8th inning now, and it is Joe Orsulak to lead things off for the Pirates. Tied at 2. The Pirates 2 runs, 5 hits and no errors. The Dodgers a 2-spot, 4 hits and no errors. We talked about it at the outset, Mike Shannon. We thought we would have a good pitching matchup in Hershiser and De Leon, and we have had just that.
Through 7, they both went into the 7th. Hershiser completed 7 innings. De Leon was relieved in the 7th. Once again, it's down to the bullpen, and you see that in the National League almost on a daily basis.
Orsulak spent the majority of 84 in Hawaii, where he hit 284, came up to Pittsburgh for about the last month of the season, compiled a 254 batting average.
That's 8 strikeouts for the Dodger pitchers today, 7 of them by the starter, Oral Hershiser.
Here's Marvell Wynn, 0 for 3 today. He grounded out a couple of times and hit he hit a line shot at Mariano Duncan in the 4th inning. Pirates 2, Dodgers 2. Hershiser and De Leon, neither will figure in a decision today.
It's up to the bullpen with Candelaria against Niedenfuhr.
De Leon, he's got to begin to look around his own locker room and wonder who's on his side.
You start doing that, you're going to continue to suffer.
Well, I say that because his first 2 starts of the year, the Pirates scored 1 run in each game. His last 2 starts, they scored 0 runs. Here's the 1-1 offering. Marvell looks at ball 2.
Yeah, that kind of a situation is very difficult for a youngster.
Now the Dodgers and Pirates will play a single game tomorrow before Pittsburgh moves on up the coast to tangle with the Giants for a couple of games on Tuesday and Wednesday. Here's a 2-2 offering. Wynn puts it on the backstop.
This crowd has enjoyed this game today. It's been a good one for them.
I'll tell you, coming to a Dodgers game in Dodger Stadium is an electrifying experience if you have never done it. I mean, this crowd is so alive. You're virtually always in the midst of a full house situation. At least 45,000.
And one of the cleanest, prettiest ballparks in all of baseball.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Beautiful setting here. Chavez Ravine when they first opened it.
There are few finer in all of baseball. Tom Niedenfuhr in relief of Hershiser works 2-2 to win, and it is touched at the plate. Now the Dodgers got on the board in the 1st inning. Sachs walked. On On hit and run, Duncan singled to right center, pushing Sachs to third. Marshall lifted a sacrifice fly that scored Sachs. In the fourth inning, the Buccos came back and took a 2-1 lead after Madlock singled with 2 outs. Jason Thompson pounded a Hershiser breaking ball over the wall in left center to take a 2-1 lead, and that stood up until just a moment ago when in the bottom of the 7th inning, Scioscia walked, Brock walked, Baylor walked, and after Reynolds struck out, Bill Russell came on to hit for Hershiser. He singled to right, scoring Scioscia, and that has been all the scoring. 3 balls and 2 strikes to win. Popped him up, right up the chute. Guerrero. So for the 4th time today, Marvell Wynn will hit for the dugout. And here comes Johnny Ray.
Well, you mentioned those doubles that he's so good at producing. Now would be an excellent time, wouldn't it, as far as the Pirates are concerned.
Fly ball center field. This should do it for the Pirates in the 8th. Johnny Ray is gone. Candy Maldonado circles under it. We have got 7.5 in the books. We head to the bottom of the 8th, tied at 2.
Don Robinson will be the new Pirate pitcher. Candelaria goes 1 inning, gives 1 hit, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, no runs. And Mr. Robinson, with his record of 1-0, appearing for the 12th time, will face this man, Mike Marshall, who produced the first RBI back in the 1st inning. It was a sacrifice fly.
And it chased Frobel about as far as you can chase him, allowing Steve Sachs time to race home with the first run of this ball game. But that was way back in the 1st inning. We're tied now as we head to the bottom of the 8th at 2.
Robinson is an amazing story. He's had five operations on his pitching arm. He has persevered. He has come back. At one time, this man threw as hard as anyone in the game. I saw him pitch a game one night. He had a slider. He was throwing his slider in the 9th inning. 92 miles an hour on the slider.
Fly ball to right. Frobel there, and Marshall is gone.
Different sort of a pitcher now because a lot of that velocity has left him.
Ken Howell, there you see the big right-hander is up and throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Both managers, Tanner, Lasorda, pulling out all the stops they can pull to win this ball game. There's a shot ripped to left field. And Guerrero is aboard for the first time today. So with 1 out, Pedro aboard. Here comes Scioscia. Scioscia, pretty decent afternoon. 1 for 2, walked once and scored. He scored the tying run in the 7th with a leadoff walk. Came around to score on Bill Russell's pinch hit single.
We talked about the championship winning spirit of this Dodger club. They have been the beneficiary of walks today. Both runs that have come in to score have been players who were walking. Once again, a good fundamental baseball. They got the sacrifice fly. Then they got their seasoned veteran, Bill Russell, off the bench with the RBI base hit with the bases loaded to move in the other man who had walked.
One ball, no strikes, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning, tied at 2. Guerrero with the lead. Robinson trying to get him off of there. works 1-0.
Hit and run.
They'll hit and run. Fly ball to left field. Orsulak has it, and Guerrero will have to retreat.
Two great managers today going at one another. Two of the best.
Not only are they outstanding managers, Mike, but they're great friends. Before the ball game today, after Tommy did his little shtick on our opening tees, he and Chuck went over and embraced, and they were just jawing like old buddies.
Great ambassadors for the game.
They are.
We had political ambassadors like these two guys. We'd have something. They are really amazing men.
2 outs. Guerrero still at first. Here's Brock. And he looks at his strike. You just have the feeling that Greg Brock is going to unload on somebody. He got the game-winning RBI last night, his first RBI of the year. And here we are at May 11th.
When this kid hits him, there is usually little doubt. But he's struggling right now.
Now, Robinson has given up only 1 home run all year. Brock is 0 for 2 on the day with a walk. Guerrero moves off first base. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th.
Totals are identical now. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for each club.
In there, called strike 2. Well, that's no surprise. You look at Robinson a year ago, coming off that severe shoulder surgery in 1983. Robinson, Mike, the only relief pitcher to record 100 strikeouts in the major leagues.
And that's with all those arm operations. You see what great talent this man has.
Swung on and fouled. Of course, 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Robinson will rub up a new one.
Al Holland is throwing in the Pirates bullpen. He was an acquisition from Philadelphia.
One ball and 2 strikes. In the American League, when you talk about relievers with 100 Ks or more, Willie Hernandez of Detroit finished with 110 or 112. Jay Howell of the Yankees had 103 in relief. Nobody in the National League had 100 or more, except for the man on the mound, Donnie Robinson. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Brock just trying to put the ball in play. Breaking ball.
Dangerous pitch right there. He got that breaking ball up a little too high, and Robinson right now knows it. You see him walk off the mound. He said, Donnie, my man, you just got away with a pitch. The thing that did save him is that it was inside enough.
Now the Dodgers have left 6 on the base pad so far today. The Pirates 3. Dodgers averaging just over 7.5 runners left on base per game. Too many. 1-2 pitch, breaking ball. Brock swings behind it and pounds it foul.
This is the type of situation, Phil, that a fellow like Brock will break out of it with the home run. All he's doing right now is trying to hit the ball, put it in play, as you say. He just wants to make contact. And if Robinson makes the mistake, that's the time that you produce the home run, when you're least thinking about it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Robinson again looks at Guerrero. Live ball. Oh, Brock shaking his head. Had a ball he could drive and didn't do it. Win on the run is there in shallow center field. And the Dodgers are gone in the 8th after a 1-out single by Guerrero. We go to the 9th, 5-2. Tomorrow it will be be a day of boxing and auto racing here on NBC Sports World. Undefeated Kenny Bazemore defends his USBA Junior Lightweight Championship against Roger Mayweather in a scheduled 12-round bout from Tyler, Texas. Plus, the best drivers in stock car racing take on the world's fastest speedway and the 16th annual Alabama 500 from Talladega. That's all tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 in Los Angeles only on NBC Sports World. Now, Tom Niedenfuhr is on for his second inning in relief. He retired the Buccos in order in the 8th, got Orsulak on a strikeout. Marvell Wynn fouled out to Guerrero, and Johnny Ray had a fly ball to end the inning to Candy Maldonado. And the first man that Niedenfuhr will face here in the 9th is Billy Madlock. Madlock is 1 for 2, and he was hit by a pitch back in the 6th. Hershiser, I mean, just nailed him in the forearm with a fastball. That didn't hurt much, does it?
Kills you. This fella Niedenfuhr can get it up there in a big hurry too. He's 90 plus when he lets it loose. He knew he had time with Madlock, but he took too much time. Watch him, see? Looks down, takes it real easy, nonchalants it, and he simply beat it. They're going to give him an error on that.
Error on Duncan. And here's Jason Thompson. 3 times in this ball game, Bill Madlock has set the table for Thompson. Back in the 4th inning, it paid off. Niedenfuhr's first offering to Thompson. When I talk about paying off in the 4th, I mean it paid big, big dividends. Take a look. 4th inning, Madlock aboard. All Thompson did was pound Hershiser's curveball over the wall in left center field. For Thompson, it was home run number 5, RBIs 19 and 20.
He'd go for a repeat of that, wouldn't he?
Oh, right here he would. Didn't get it all. Popped it up. That's Duncan. Waving Maldonado.
The difference in the pitch he hit for a home run and the one he popped up. Great pitch by Niedenfuhr. He jammed it up and in. Will bat in Kemp's spot, the number 5th position. And let me tell you something. This guy is a number 5 hitter. He can swing the bat. He is a home run threat. He's been used as a pinch hitter by his manager, Chuck Tanner, previously.
Well, he's got 5 home runs. You talk about a home run threat. 39 RBIs. He hit 262 lifetime, 290 last year.
He's 0 for 2 on the season.
You know, Tanner's a master. He doesn't hesitate to use his pitchers as pinch hitters. He's used Rick Rhoden as a pinch hitter.
The other night in San Diego, he used Rick Rhoden. Yeah. I chided him a bit. I got Robinson in his office this morning, and I said, hey, how can you hit Rhoden over Robinson?
What did he say?
He said, well, he said Rhoden hits that particular pitcher better than Robinson, and that's the only reason. What a diplomat he is.
I remember a couple of years ago, there was a left-handed pitcher in San Diego by the name of Tim Lawler, who was all everything in college. And Dick Williams had no hesitation at all in using Lawler as a pinch hitter. Of course, Lawler now with the Chicago White Sox. Robinson shortens up the bunt, brings everybody running, and he doesn't get it. No balls into strike.
Now, here's a spot where Tanner can switch off. Get those infielders moving, the Dodger infielders, and then switch off and let him swing away. Let's see if he opts for that. What Niedenfuhr did there, he threw to first, not to try to pick off Madlock. He threw to see if Robinson would tip his hand whether he was going to bunt or not. Robinson didn't tip. See, he's he's going to swing. So yeah, they took it off, and he switched off.
And it is called strike 2.
Now you see the third baseman, Guerrero, over there with second thoughts. He's backing up. He said, well, if you're going to play that game, forget it.
Just missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, he's got some pop in the bat. Well, the Pirates could use a long ball right now. Tied at 2 in the top of the 9th with 1 out. Robinson's last home run, he has 5 lifetime, came a year ago off Joe Sambito. Missed. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Let's take another look, and you umpire. Did he go around?
Niedenfuhr and Sosha certainly thought so. 2-2. There goes the runner, and the ball is on the backstop. Pretty gutsy baseball. For a pitcher at the plate.
Robinson had a heck of a cut at a fastball up in his eyes. 2 really good managers, 2 daring managers here today. Look at Chuck saying, my goodness, I picked the hit and run just right. Got the pitch I wanted him to have, and now Lasorda's over there trying to figure out what Chuck is up to.
There he goes again on 2-2. Robinson pops it up. This will reach the seats. Well, the count holds at 2-2.
I'm not certain if the count is 2-2. I know the scoreboard has 2-2, and I haven't seen the umpire go 3-2 to change it. Usually they will if the scoreboard has it that way, and no one's asked him or he hasn't indicated.
Now the scoreboard still reads 2-2. It's funny you said that. I had thought a moment ago that it was 3-2.
No one's asked for the count.
With the lead, he reached base on an error by Duncan. Thompson popped up, and that's where we stand. There goes Madlock. Swung on and missed the throw to second base. Now they got Madlock trapped. And he is tagged out by Brock. So the double play complete. Robinson strikes out. Madlock is thrown out.
Runs it back, and he almost got Brock killed, didn't he? He gave it to him too late.
To the bottom of the 9th inning we go. Dodgers will try to win it. Now Vin Scully and Joe Garagiola will be in Atlanta for that Cubs-Braves tilt. Bob Costas and Tony Kubek will be at Anaheim Stadium when the Yanks take on the Angels. Baseball continues next Saturday right here on NBC Sports. Kenny Landreau will come on and hit for Tom Niedenfuhr to begin the 9th inning. And is there any question, Mike Shannon, but that Landreau has got pop in that bat?
None whatsoever. He's a home run threat. Good game here today.
Fly ball, he didn't get around on it. Probel. And Landreau will not get home run number 4 today.
Landreau was batting for the pitcher. The pitcher was inserted in the number 7 slot in the Dodger order. So that means Niedenfuhr has been lifted. He did an excellent job. He went 2 innings, gave no runs. He struck out 2, gave no hits, and he pitched around a big error.
Maldonado. Strike. And another final. The Birds have downed the Giants 9-4.
All the little road runners of the Cardinals are hot now. They've scored 18 runs in the last 2 days against the Giant pitching.
Strike 2 on Maldonado. Whitey Herzog and his 40 Thieves. That ought to make the sporting news. 2 strikes now on Candy Maldonado. 1 out, bottom of the 9th, tied at 2.
bench in the 7th as a pinch batter and struck out with the bases loaded.
Out of play.
Stayed in the game. Played left field.
We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WOC-TV in Davenport, your station for the best in sports.
Stone, along with Mike Shannon. We are in the bottom of the 9th from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The Pirates and the Dodgers deadlocked at 2. Don Robinson to the plate. And Maldonado pounds it foul. Now Hershiser and Jose De Leon for the Pirates pitched exceptionally well. Both pitchers going 6+. Neither to figure in the decision. Hershiser certainly not used to that. For Jose De Leon, it was business as usual. Robinson to the plate on 2-2. It's too high, 3-2.
You could just see everyone reading the starting pitchers for the day's game. Owen.
Russell inserted as a pinch hitter with 1 out in the 7th inning and the bases loaded, and promptly blooped the single over Jason Thompson, set into right. It scored Sasha from 3rd, and that was a tying run. Now Bill Russell, Mike, is the only relic left from that tremendous Dodger infield of the 70s. Garvey at first, Lopes at second, Russell at short, and a guy by the name of Ron Say at 3rd. Pops it up. Thompson should have plenty of room. Pena also charging. And neither will get to it.
You see one of the hustling catchers. What happened here, he didn't know where Jason Thompson was, and vice versa, as they darn near collided. And that ball, if I'm not mistaken, if we could run it back on the replay, did that ball hit Jason in the foot? Let's see it. Right at the last here, let's watch. He misses it. Now, it hit right off of Jason's foot. He had the glove on the wrong place.
So Russell with the count of a ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. Should Russell get aboard, we'd go to the top of the order in Steve Sachs. Play, I believe. He does. We're going to extra innings as the Dodgers unable to capitalize. To the 10th inning we go. The Dodgers and the Buccos tied at Houston.
Hey, you want to know how to make a car sing? Well, after you wash it, just get out the old Armor All. First I do the tires. Makes them look like new again. Then I do the bumpers. Makes them look like bumpers again, yeah. Then I do the dash, the door panel. Then I hit the hoses. And when I'm finished with Armor All, this car is the envy of the entire living world.
And then he does his car.
Company car.
People love Honda's 4Trax 250 so much they tend to exaggerate about what it can do.
Hold an 18-wheeler out of mud this deep.
Why, it hold a 900-pound catfish back from the lake.
I use my 4Trax for repairs.
Well, what's so amazing about that?
On the roof?
The new Honda 4Trax four-wheeler. With shaft drive, reverse, and electric starter, it's got more features than any other four-wheeler. And that's no exaggeration.
Will Dolly's 26-minute sun deck. Edith Kozit's 5-minute porch swing. Terry McFadden's 4.5-hour cottage. Gene Townsend's 17-minute rowboat. It's times like these that'll make you glad you've got a Wagner Power Painter. The quick, easy way to paint just about anything. Now get a $10 rebate on selected power painters and the Wagner Power Roller.
Ground Zero, Hiroshima, symbol of a nuclear age. Now, 40 years later, the world's athletes come in peace to participate, to honor, to remember. The World Cup Marathon. If it's special, it's on NBC Sports.
The third Los Angeles pitcher of the afternoon is Ken Howell. You see his record with 2-2, 4 saves, a very good earned run average. This fella has been a big plus for Tommy Lasorda's bullpen. He was a starter in Albuquerque. They pulled him up here, made a relief pitcher out of him last year in Los Angeles. He was 5-5 with a 3.33 earned run average. In 32 ball games, he saved 6. He's another right out of the Dodger mold. Hard-throwing right-hander.
Now, Tommy calls him the Raven. He has a very deceptive fastball. Doesn't really have a whole lot of motion, but that ball just gets to the catcher's mitt in a hurry. Here's Pena to lead things off for the Buccos. At the top of the 10th we go. The Pirates and the Dodgers tied at 2. We go back a year ago at Los Angeles. He was 5-5. Had 54 strikeouts and only 9 walks. So typical of Dodger relievers. Where do they find these guys? On the day is 0 for 3. He's hitting .224. Here's the 1-1 offering from Howell. Here's that fastball.
Pena was looking for it, and he still couldn't catch up with it. I can remember going down to Vero Beach when I was a player. Phil, every year they had some guy 6'5", 6'6", thought he was Don Drysdale. Had a terrible background down in Vero Beach. That big right-hander comes firing from the side. And I'd say, oh, no. I'd look at the schedule every year, see if I could get sick when we went to Vero Beach. Bill Singer, you name him, they had him.
A ball and 2 strikes to Pena. The Raven, Ken Howell. There's the fastball. Pena gets a bat on it. The drop beats him in the foot race.
Take a look at the effective motion of Ken Howell. Right over the top. And immediately breaking for the base like a good pitcher should do. This kid's a home run threat, too. He's a very aggressive young hitter.
Well, Frobel has certainly had his problems today. 0 for 3. Swung on and missed on the breaking ball. 0-2.
He does what a lot of young hitters do when they first come to the big leagues. A little over-aggressive. And what they try to do is exploit that over-aggressiveness by throwing the ball out of the strike zone and see if they can get the batter to go fishing.
A year ago, Howell made his first start as a Dodger, and it was against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it was a game in which the Buccos beat him around pretty bad. So it was a 6-0 loss. It wasn't until July 6th when he got his first big league win. You got to remember that.
Everybody gets their first win against the Cardinals. Is that what you're saying? We've had 3 today.
Frobel's gone, 6-3. Two up, 2 down in the 10th, and here comes Billy Allman. Allman 1 for 3 on the day, struck out a couple of times.
Chuck Tanner is a little better off at this point in the game than Tommy Lasorda is. He has more left on the bench. Tanner does. And he has one big man over there in George Hendrick.
Howell to the plate, 0-1 to Allman. Outside of ball into strike.
That's one reason that Tommy Lasorda is staying with the right-handed pitchers. You still have Steve Howell, lefty, in the bullpen, but he's going with the right-handers.
2 balls into strike. Now the Pirates 8-19 on the year, 10 games back tell you what. How to play. You've got to go all the way back, Mike, to 1965 to find the time when the Pirates got off to a worse start.
They're struggling. They've lost the 5 in a row that you mentioned, and their road record is 1-10.
Well, as I said, go back to '79, the championship season for Pittsburgh. Pirates trailed by 9 games during a 4-day stretch from right around the middle of this month, 12th or 13th of May till the 16th or 17th. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Howe to the plate. Just missed on the breaking ball. Goes full now to Allman, 3-2.
And that's Joe Orsulak, who pinch hit. Well, he didn't pinch hit. He was inserted in the ball game back in the 7th inning when Chuck Tanner put Candelaria in the game. He went to the umpire first. He removed Kemp, his left fielder, inserted Orsulak in the lineup. Then he brought Candelaria in the pitch, and he put Candelaria to bat in Kemp's spot. So that particular move could pay dividends here in extra innings. Instead of the pitcher being up the number 9 man, he's got the regular.
Runner going. Throw to second base. In there. Bang, bang. Allman contends he's safe. Here comes Tanner out of the dugout. Doug Harvey, the crew chief, says, Allman thought he had beaten the throw, and Tanner agrees.
Boy, he's hot, isn't he? Let's take another look. Great angle of the runner Allman. Now the throw is low. The kid shortstop makes a good play. And what Tanner is saying is, I know the ball beat him, but the tag did not. Watch his foot get in there before the tag. See it? Tagged him up on the waist. He was safe.
He was safe, but it is to no avail. We'll go to the bottom of the 10th inning, tied at 2.
I'm Mr. Goodwrench. Did you know it takes more power to stop your car than to make it go? This GM car can go from 0 to 50 in 11 seconds. But you may have to stop in less than 3. So brakes have to be powerful. And they need professional care. So have me check them regularly. And if they need replacing, I'll install new GM Goodwrench replacement brakes. You get them exclusively from a GM dealer who sells GM Goodwrench parts. Just stop in and keep that great GM feeling.
Elsie, how am I supposed to hit it through this tree?
No problem, Bert.
How would you like to play golf with duffers like these?
8 ball on the side.
You can, if you win the light beer from Miller Hackers Paradise Sweepstakes. A free vacation in Hawaii for you and 3 friends. Golfing with some of the light beer all-stars. Get an entry form from this display wherever you buy light beer, or from the May 13th Sports Illustrated or People magazine. You never played golf like this before.
Who's been using my razor? Mine burns me. Don't blame your razor. Use my Ice Blue Aqua Velva.
It turns red-hot razor burn to cool comfort. Smooths, too.
My Aqua Velva Men.
There's something about an Ice Blue Aqua Velva Man.
Grow a beard, huh? Not under my roof.
But, Dad, this electric razor is rough on my face. Try Electric Shave. It sets up your beard so whiskers stand up and your razor glides. Electric Shave! That's for an electric razor what lather does for a blade.
We head now to the bottom of the 10th inning. Into the top of the Dodger order we go, and Steve Sachs will lead it off. Steve is 0 for 2. He's walked twice in the ball game, and he will look at Don Robinson's fastball.
The momentum switches to the Dodger side now. They lost the base runners and Lasorda, and his Dodgers have the leadoff man at the platter. Sachs has had 2 good cuts, but Robinson is throwing very hard.
Well, normally very spirited Dodger Stadium is rather sedate here in the bottom of the 10th inning.
What Tommy wants to do in this inning is get the big guys up. He wants Marshall, Guerrero, Socha batting this inning.
Dodgers are 5-2 in extra inning ball games. The Pirates have yet to win in 2 tries. Al Sachs is flagged.
Woe is me, says Tommy. My leadoff man is 0 for 3 with 2 walks. Now the kid shortstop go back. Duncan, he singled, stole the base in the first, flied to right in the third, struck out in the 6th, flied out in the 7th.
7th strikeout by Pirate pitchers today.
You see that swing? That's the swing that I was talking about. He's a natural right-handed batter. He just started to switch hit last year. They've asked him to continue to bat from both sides. And Robinson poured that fastball right in on him. Let's see if he does it again.
Only twice in the ball game, Mike, have the Dodgers placed their leadoff hitter on board. Conversely, for the Pirates, they have accomplished it only once.
And each time they got that leadoff man on. In the first inning, Sachs a walk and a walk to Guerrero in the 7th. They both came in to score. Here's the swing. You see how the youngster's tied up a bit. It's difficult to move those hands from the starting position all the way inside, especially if you are a natural right-handed batter.
Now Duncan is gone. Strikeout number 8 for the Pirates.
Watch, you see how unnatural this swing is. See? Kind of forces the bat.
That's the 3rd strikeout for Robinson since he came on to relieve the Candyman in the 8th inning.
Well, here's a guy that could send 40+ thousand home with one swing of the bat. Ooh, he just had his swing, didn't he? Here he is on a Saturday afternoon getting his Sunday cut, and Robinson continues to pump the fastball in there. 1-on-1.
Tied for 2nd in home runs in the National League with Andre Dawson. Marshall with 6 on the year. Of course, Dale Murphy leading everybody with 10. Best ball Marshall hit all day came back in the 4th inning when he let off. And, I mean, he pounded a rocket at Steve Kemp. Kemp had his feet all turned around and still caught the baseball. Robinson works 0-2. Fly ball. Marvell wind to his left, waving Strobel away. And that is it. 3 up, 3 down for the Dodgers in the 10th. Nothing across. Still tied at 2. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Monday, Jackie's back with Audrey Meadows and sees that Edmund on TV in 30 years. Jackie Gleason presents the Honeymooners Reunion.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. Don't worry, call the Car X-Man.
Oh, look at this beauty. The folks have put a lot of love and a fair amount of money into it, but not for mufflers. After the first CarX muffler, the rest are on us, including installation.
Everybody come to the Car X-Man. He's great.
Oh, Mom.
Oh, you are too. You're great.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. You never far from the Car X-Man.
Mills has something new to offer you on used cars.
Something new on used cars?
It's Mills Better Back used cars. Choose a quality used car from Mills' huge inventory. Then if you're not completely satisfied after 72 hours, just bring it back.
They can't do that.
Mills can. Plus, Mills is giving $200 to $500 cash back on the spot.
If anyone can give you the best deal on a used car...
And a worry-free guarantee,
Mills can.
Have I got a deal on tap for you? You buy any medium or large Godfather's pizza, chip in another $1.99, I'll give you this beauteous tapper filled with 80 ounces of Coca-Cola. Hey, but listen up. Every time you haul this baby back to my joint and order another medium or large pizza, I'll fill it up again, free, for an entire year.
Godfather's Pizza.
Hey, get in on this now, before...
well into his second inning of work. Well, go back to April 24th against the Giants. Howell came on, worked 3 2/3 innings against the Giants, and fanned 8. So he can bring the smoke. Borselak is 0 for 1 since coming on to replace Kemp in left field. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pirates have only placed their leadoff hitter aboard once, and that came on an error by Duncan. Chopper, Duncan to his left, flags it on the run.
That kid went way on the first base side of second. Watch this play again. He got a break and the ball's staying up. Watch the last hop. It takes a bounce and it bounces high, and that allows the shortstop to get there. When he throws the ball, he's on the first base side of second, just nips him. Great play.
So Howell retires the first Pirate he faces in the 11th. We go to the top of the order. Marvell Wynn 0 for 4. Out of play.
We've got some great relief pitching, haven't we?
I'd say it. Starting pitching wasn't bad either.
Hershiser, the starter for the Dodgers, went 7 innings, gave 5 hits, struck out 7, allowed both of the Pirate runs, and they were on 1 pitch, a home run, a 2-run homer by Jason Thompson. Niedenfuhr 2 innings, no runs, no hits, struck out 2. Candelaria came in with the bases loaded, pitched 1 inning, struck out 1, walked a man, gave 1 hit. Robinson has been very, very effective.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Dodger bullpen. Howell works 2-2. Little check swing. Duncan on a run. And again, Wynn is cut down. Oh, what a job Mariano Duncan is doing.
The kid shortstop is putting on a show. He went to his left, now in and to his right. One of the most difficult for a shortstop. And he nips a very speedy runner in Marvell Wynn. Kid threw on the run, off balance, and got a lot on the throw.
Ray swings on the first Howell offering and doesn't get it. Out of play, no balls into strike. And we have had just some superb replays today from our Los Angeles crew. Producer David Neal, our director Bucky Gunn. No balls into strike. Fastball, and that's the first base hit off Ken Howell today. A looping single to center.
That is the first Pirate base hit since the 5th inning. A 1-out single by Bill Almond that just rolled down the third base line.
That's the first base hit out of the infield since since Steve Kemp's double in the 4th. One on, 2 outs. Here's Madlock. He is probably the most feared Pirate with runners on base. down the Royals 11-3. Don Baylor with a grand slam there. No balls and to strike to Madlock. In following Madlock is Jason Thompson.
A little bit of a dilemma for Chuck Tanner. Got a man at first, 2 down. Good hitter, Madlock up, a guy that can handle the bat. You say, well, why isn't he using the hit and run?
This will reach the seats. Brock will have no play.
One big reason why he hasn't employed it thus far is because Jason Thompson is the man that's on deck. Now, with this count, 0-2, he could start his run because now Madlock is in a hole.
Strikes. Ray with the lead.
Very good pitch. You see he's throwing a couple of deliveries outside. So now he throws that ball up and in. He stands Bill Madlock, the hitter, up. He makes his eyes refocus. Very effective. They've been doing that for over 100 years in this game. Now he goes back outside. See, he tried to set up that pitch. He wanted to throw the ball outside. So the 0-2 pitch was up and in. This would be a good spot to start the runner. You get a ball in the gap, and you can score that man.
Ray, good lead. 2-2 pitch. Not running. Ground ball, Duncan. Will handle all 3 putouts here in the 11th inning. 3-6-3 play. We go to the bottom of number 11. Still tied at 2.
Okay, gang, let's take on the tough stuff.
And now is the best time to take on that tough stuff with the Ford Bronco 2 and new low 8.8% financing. Only one 4-wheel drive vehicle has this combination of style and toughness. Yes, conquer the rough stuff with a tough Ford Bronco 2 and get low 8.8% financing at your participating Ford dealer. Hurry, 8.8% financing on new Bronco 2s delivered by June 3rd.
I thought we were going camping. We left the house with lots of picnic gear, and they even brought me along. We drove and drove. I just love to ride in the car. After a while, they stopped and let me out. What a great place for a picnic. I waited for everyone else to get out, but they just slammed the door and drove off. It's getting late, and I'm starting to get hungry. How will they find me in the dark? When are they coming back for me?
It's a sin what some people do with animals. Use your animal shelter, and remember, there are hundreds of little fellas like this guy who need homes.
All the places some nationwide long-distance companies don't serve, you'll be on the road a long time. There are a lot of services you take for granted with AT&T that most companies don't have, like calling from anywhere to anywhere, operator service, and immediate credit for wrong numbers. Looks like most companies still have a long way to go to measure up to AT&T. The more you hear, the better we sound. AT&T, the right choice.
Off while we wear these skirts? Hush up! We incognito. I thought we in Scotland to catch them illegal distance balls. Like that? Hold on there, ladies! What ball you playing?
The longest ball, Spalding Top Flight and Top Flight XL. Only way to drive those big dog legs.
Top Flight XL, and the newest longest ball, the 492 Dimple Top Flight Plus.
What do you say about our legs?
Who are those twits?
Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Phil Stone along with Mike Shannon as we move to the bottom of the 11th inning, tied at 2. And Pedro Guerrero, who is 1 for 4 on the day, will move in. And I believe you had a prediction here?
Well, Mr. Guerrero is a man that can end it in a big hurry, just like the Dodgers, the Pirates will have. If this game goes into the 12th, it will be the cleanup man, Jason Thompson, to lead it off. So it's a battle of cleanup men leading off here for the Dodgers in the 11th. If it goes 12, Thompson for the Pirates in the next.
Now, Guerrero has 3 home runs, and his last one came against Pittsburgh back at Three Rivers Stadium on the 4th of May. Robinson has allowed just 1 dinger all year. Off his glove, tips it to Johnny Ray. On to Thompson, and Guerrero is history. expected this ball game to end in 9. But as soon as it does, take a look. On NBC tonight, here comes the judge, His Honor Arnold J. Jackson on different strokes. Then it's fun for the whole family with the Smurfs and their Smurrific games. Give me a break, Under One Roof, and Hunter, all on NBC tonight.
9 in a row retired by Don Robinson.
Socia looks at a strike. Mike 1 for 3. Walked and scored back in the 7th inning.
All 3 men for the Dodgers here in this inning are home run threats.
Breaking ball. Tough play. Allman. Did he get it? Indeed he did. Billy Allman on a dead run. A long way to come. Guns Socia down.
One end of the spectrum to the other. The youngster at short for the Dodgers. Now the seasoned veteran, Allman, showing the kid how the old-timer does it. Great play by Allman. Tough play. And the ability to throw on the run from any position is a requirement when it comes to playing shortstop. We have alluded to a number of times today. The stick of dynamite waiting to go off. Oof. Greg Brock. You think Robinson's not throwing hard? That ball's jumping around. You see him go off the mound. The reason he went off the mound, he wanted to moisten his fingertips to rub up the ball. You can't do that when you're on the mound. If you do go to your mouth while you're on the mound, the umpire will call a ball.
Rock swings and misses. A ball and a strike. Al Holland is throwing in the Pirates bullpen.
They're on this youngster out here in Los Angeles. They've been booing him. He made a couple of errors here the other night that cost the Dodgers a game. And he's not hitting.
He made one. It was the 9th or 10th inning against the Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken, to give the Birds a 5-4 win.
2 in the same inning, you know. Boy, he has a home run swing, doesn't he?
Here's the 1-2 pitch. And again, he pounds it foul. You know, Mike, you hear an awful lot at times during the course of a season. A player isn't seeing the ball well. It appears that is true of this guy right here. What is actually meant by not seeing the ball well? Your eyes don't change.
Great question. And I'll give you the answer right here as this foul ball goes out of play. You see the baseball naturally, but when you're not seeing it well, you don't see the seams on it. You don't pick the ball up out of the pitcher's hand as soon as you normally would. So consequently, when you're not seeing it well, it means you're not seeing it for a longer period of time while it's on the way to you. You talk to batters and they say, when they're hitting well, they say, oh, I'm seeing the ball. It looks as big as a balloon. It's just the opposite when you're not seeing it. And that's getting it out of the pitcher's hand and seeing it from the time he releases it all the way into the catcher's mitt.
There's a shot to right field. It chases Fumble to the line. Brock will round first and hold there. A 2-out base hit by the big first baseman of the Dodgers, Greg Brown.
Now Tommy Lasorda will have to go to his bench again. The pitcher is scheduled next. And there's the swing of Brock. He went out after a delivery, pulled it into the right field corner. A 2-out single, and the boos go to cheers.
Now Ken Howell will come out of the ball game. He was in the on-deck circle, and you wonder with 2 outs if maybe he wasn't hoping just a little bit.
And is that the veteran Al Oliver, who's been hobbled by a leg injury?
That's him.
Coming off the bench? You bet. If I'm not mistaken, is he the only player to have the number 0
in Major League Baseball? And he's only been to the plate 7 times in a pinch hit role and has a hit.
Now, you know, this guy, he continues to play another 3 or 4 years, has a very good opportunity to go into the Hall of Fame. Now, would you retire his number? 0?
Good point. Now, here comes Chuck Tanner. He is going to make a move also. Sixto Lescano.
He'll make 2 moves, I believe. You put Lascano in left field. He'll move Orsulak from left to right, and then bring in a new pitcher, a left-handed pitcher, Al Holland. That's what he's going to do. First, he went to the umpire to make that move. Lascano goes to left. The left fielder goes to center.
Now, while Al Holland makes his way in from the Pirate bullpen, we'll take a break here at Dodger Stadium. We're tied at 2. Today's NBC Game of the Week is being brought to you by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. By Ford, who invite you to drive the new Ford Escort. Have you driven a Ford lately? By the cool, soothing refreshment of Ice Blue Aqua Velva, because there's something about an Ice Blue Aqua Velva man. And by Armor All. It's science, but it works like magic.
And the new pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates is the former Philadelphia left-hander Al Holland. He came from the Giants to the Phillies, and now he's in a Pittsburgh Pirate uniform. There are his statistics. And Mr. Holland, since his acquisition from Philadelphia on April the 20th, has appeared in 8 games and retired 42 of the 50 batters he's faced. New left fielder for Pittsburgh is Sixto Lascano, a refugee from the American League. And Orsulak, who was in left, moves into center. Marvell Wynn leaves the ball game, so that means that Al Holland, the pitcher, is batting in the leadoff spot. Lascano will bat in the 5th position, and he'll come up in the 12th inning, if we have one, as the number 2 batter. Al Oliver is the pinch hitter now. He's batting for Ken Howe.
Oliver 1 for 7 in a pinch hit role here in 1985. Pittsburgh playing Oliver to hit pretty much straight away. Orsulak in center, shaded about 10 feet into left center.
We're in the 11th inning. Brock's at first with 2 down.
Holland works to Oliver, and he takes a fastball in there. A swinging strike.
Al Oliver hasn't played in quite a while. He hasn't seen any live pitching in quite a while. He's had an injury. But Tommy Lasorda has depleted his bench, and Oliver's in there now.
And he's facing a pretty tough customer, Mike, in Al Holland. I'll tell you, since his acquisition from the Phillies back in April, Holland has appeared in 8 games as a Dodger, or pardon me, as a Pirate, and has retired 42 of the 50 batters he's faced.
Al Oliver, a former Pirate, as you well know, went to the Rangers, came back to the National League, went to the Montreal club. Now he's wearing the Dodger uniform. This guy has mucho base hits in a big league uniform. I think he's over the 2,500 mark.
In fact, his next base hit will be his 2,600.
He'd like to give his mother a Mother's Day present, a 2-run homer in the 11th, and make it his 2,600 of his career. Ooh, heck of a pitch, and he laid off.
1 ball and 2 strikes now to Oliver. Al Holland. Big burly left-hander.
Philadelphia complained about his weight. He came to spring training at 225. They wanted him to report at 210.
The White Sox complained about Lamar Hoyt's weight a year ago. His history. He's in San Diego.
Fernando was a fellow that lost a lot of weight.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. There's a shot to right field. Brock will make the turn and hold there.
Well, there's hit number 2,600 for Al Oliver as a pinch batter. Let's take a look at it. You see him with the bad leg, hobble down there. Now we'll get a pinch runner off the bench. That will probably be a pitcher, I would assume. Tommy's running out of players over there. Al gets a nice hand as he walks off. Yeah, that's Rick Honeycutt, isn't it? Rick Honeycutt will come in and be the pinch runner. What a game. Number 40, Rick Honeycutt. Honeycutt was a winner here the other night.
I'd like to have heard Honeycutt's reaction when Lasorda yelled, "Hey, Honeycutt, get on first base." I said, what?
He's used Baylor, Maldonado, Russell, Landro, Oliver, and now Honeycutt.
2 aboard, 2 outs. And Maldonado looks at the ball. Maldonado has yet to get any wood on a baseball. He came on in the 7th inning to pinch hit for R.J. Reynolds. Got caught looking at a strike and then swung at strike 3 in the ninth. A ball deep to left field. Lescano is there on the warning track and hauls it in. Oh, my goodness. Maldonado making a bid to end it all. To no avail. Let's go to the 12th.
So close, but yet so far. Candy thought he had one when it left the bat. So did the left fielder, Lescano. He said, son of a gun. Wish I'd had one more egg for breakfast. One little piece of bacon. Maybe that would have been enough. Not so. Well, we have a youngster in a very unusual pitching motion. Is held by this young man, Tom Brennan. He's from Chicago, Illinois, 6'1", 180-pounder. Last year, he was with the White Sox, 0-1 there. His major league totals, 8 wins, 7 losses, an earned run average of 3.90 in 52 big league games. You see him, he hesitates, comes to a complete halt before he delivers the ball. A la Rip Sewell. But he doesn't come over the top. He comes way down from the side, even close to submarine distance.
Now, Jason Thompson will open up the Bucks' 12th inning. And he is the man who has accounted for all of the Pittsburgh runs. And it came with a swing of the bat in the 4th inning with 2 outs. Madlock aboard. He powered an Oral Hershiser curveball over the fence in left center. And this time he drills one to the alley in left center. And it'll find the wall. Maldonado and Russell chase it down. And Thompson is aboard at second base. And he pulls up lame. Jason Thompson is hurt standing at second.
It's been a while since he's had to run. And now the coach comes out to look at him. As you see the ball go off the wall on one hop. Center fielder can't come up with it, but Russell very alertly coming over from his left field spot gets it back in to hold him to a double. And now Jason Thompson is going to leave the ball game with a pulled hamstring muscle.
Well, Steve Demeter, first base coach, ran right out to see how Thompson is doing, and he's out of the ball game. Was heading in. Rafael Belliard will go in for the injured Jason Thompson. Rafael Belliard.
The batter
is the new runner out at second base.
This ball game is getting down to the bench, isn't it? Oh, we're in the 12th. It's 2-2. It's 2 runs, 7 hits for each club. The only error in the ball game is by the Dodgers shortstop. Now what do? Do you swing away or do you go to the sacrifice? I say he'll let him swing.
I think you're absolutely right, particularly Sixto Lescano. Last year he hit 9 of his 14 home runs against right-handers. Well,
wrong again.
First time I've been wrong.
Wrong again.
Dodgers moved to L.A.
That may be a ploy. It'll be deception on the part of Chuck Tanner trying to deceive the Dodger infielders. If he switches off now, he has both the infielders, first and third, pulled way in on the grass. Scano going to bunt again.
Is it going to roll foul? No, it won't.
That's happened twice now to the Dodgers today. And the catcher yelled to the first baseman, let it roll. Let it roll. You could hear him all the way up here, and it really has put the Dodgers in a hole. And you see the runner, Belliard, over at third, getting a kick out. Perfect bunt. The catcher right here says, let it roll, let it roll. To the first baseman, Brock. They do, and it comes right back in. That's a base hit.
Well, Allman did the same thing with one out in the fifth. He put one down the third base line that kissed the chalk and stayed fair. And now here in the 12th inning with nobody out, Lascano did it on the first base side. Belliard at third, Lascano at first, and here is Pena.
Infielders are in for the play at the plate. If they get the ground ball, they will not go for the double play. They'll throw home.
There won't be any play on this ball. Pena lets the air out, and the Pirates have broken the 2-2 tie here in the 12th.
Wait till you see the greeting that Tony Pena gets when he arrives in the Pittsburgh dugout. Let's take another look. This is a ball player's green. Goodbye. He knew it.
Now, Tony hit 15 a year ago in an all-star season. And today it is home run number 1. In 85, it comes off Tom Glennon. There's the curveball to Doug Frobel. It's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Still nobody out in the 12th.
Lasorda having one of those days.
Check that. It is Pena's second home run of the year. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two strikes.
That's sent a lot of these paying folks to the beach.
I'll tell you, they won't be any happier there. We haven't seen the sun since yesterday. Shot down the right field side. It's foul by 5 feet.
That's just here at the ballpark. Out at Malibu, it's shining bright.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Sources there have told you that.
Marina Del Rey. All up and down the coast.
Robo with the count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Breaking ball. Robo pops it up. It is out of play, and the count will stand at 2-2. Now there's a gentleman behind home plate who has just caught his second foul ball today, both of them on a fly. Oh, my goodness.
Just flew in from Honolulu, that guy. He's got 2 souvenirs. Jason Thompson got all this started in the 12th. Leadoff double, then Lascano on that bunt. They let it roll, and then Tony Pena rolled one right off the end over the 360 mark.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It would seem to me part of the reason for a pitcher taking the full windup is to get the momentum started to get the ball to the plate. Fly ball, popped up. That's Duncan, and Frobel's gone. Seems to me that with Brennan's type of delivery, you'd have no way of creating any real momentum other than just from the arm. Very little body mechanics.
Well, what you have to do is you have to acclimate yourself to this man's delivery.
Well, on NBC tonight, here comes the judge, His Honor Arnold J. Jackson, on different strokes, and it's fun for the whole family with the Smurrific games. And will wedding bells ring for Julie? Yeah, not if Nell has anything to say on Gimme a Break, followed by the comedy hit Under One Roof. Then a sniper stalks the city. Can Hunter track him down before Dee Dee becomes his next victim? Find out tonight on Hunter on NBC. And on the West Coast, all of those shows will be seen at their regular time. Brock chasing Allman's pop-up into foul territory, and Greg retires Philly. So after the home run to Pena, Brennan has gotten Frobel and Allman on pops. And here comes Orsolak. Joe is 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Out of play. In the Dodger 12th, it'll be Russell, Sachs, and Mariano Duncan. Breaking ball, hammered at Sachs. He's got it. On to Brock. Orsolak, and the Pirates are going to the 12th, but not before they got 3 on the big home run by Pena. Coming into this ball game, the Dodgers had allowed the fewest home runs in all of Major League Baseball. They have allowed 2 today, Mike Shannon, and both have cost them dearly.
And 4 of the 10 home runs allowed by the Dodger staff this year have gone to Pittsburgh.
Leading off for the Dodgers. Now changes in the Pittsburgh Pirate defense. At third base is Billy Allman. He has shifted from shortstop to make room for Rafael Belliard at short. And over at first base, Billy Madlock. So Billy shifts from third to first. The outfield, Lascano, Orsolak, and Frobel. Don Robinson with a chance to win a ball game here. Check that out, Holland with a chance to win.
And if he does win, it will be his first win as a Pittsburgh Pirate.
Russell, Sachs, and then Duncan. Russell sends it foul to the seats. Thompson, a 2-run homer in the 4th. Tony Pena, a 3-run hammer shot in the 12th with nobody out, following a double by Thompson and a base hit by Lascano. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Holland. Breaking ball rides high, 1-2. Ground ball, Holland handles it on a hop. On to Madlock. Now this week's NBC Light Beer from Miller Player of the Game has to be this man, Tony Pena. Light Beer from Miller is happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of the all-star catcher, Tony Pena, to help fight multiple sclerosis.
An ironic note to this game, the Pirates, with the fewest home runs in the National League, have scored all 5 of their runs today on the home run route. A 2-run shot by Jason Thompson in the 1st, and a 3-run homer by Pena in the 12th.
Here's Sachs. Sachs is 0 for 3. Had a couple of walks, scored a run.
If you like baseball, we've had it for you today, haven't we? A doubleheader. First doubleheader of the season, and we go 12 innings in the second one, if in fact it does end.
Ground ball. Belliard, a one-hopper to Madlock.
How about Mr. Madlock? He moves from third to first, and watch this play as he helps out the young shortstop. The throw goes in the dirt, and watch Madlock with the scoop. That was a heck of a play.
The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Wiseman. The coordinating producer of NBC's baseball coverage is Harry Coyle. Today's Game of the Week was produced by David Neal. Directed by Bucky Gunts. Our technical director, Ray Figelski. Associate director, Ray Benassi. And our production associate, Ramon Plaza. Duncan swings and doesn't find it. Two strikes. 2 outs, bottom of the 12th. Pirates with a 3 spot in the top of the inning, lead at 5-2. And that is it. Al Holland, his first victory in a Pittsburgh Pirate uniform. The game-winning RBI, Tony Pena, a 3-run shot in the 12th.
The total's 5 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Pittsburgh. For the Dodgers, 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. The winner is Holland, the losing Brenner.
It was a good one. The Pirates over the Dodgers 5-2. Tomorrow it will be a day of boxing and auto racing on NBC Sports World. Undefeated Kenny Bazemore takes on Roger Mayweather in a scheduled 12-round bout from Tyler, Texas. Plus, the best drivers in stock car racing take on the world's fastest speedway, Talladega. Now stay tuned for prime time here on NBC. West Coast, it will be seen at its regular time. For Mike Shannon, I'm Phil Stone. So long from Dodger Stadium.